Would the meeting please come to order? This is the August 12th, 2025 meeting, a special meeting of the Irvine City Council. The time is 3:02, and at this time, would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Go.
Here.
Councilmember Liu.
Here.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Here.
Councilmember Truceder.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Here.
And Mayor Agron.
Here. I'm going to ask the clerk to take a moment to advise our audience and those who may be joining us remotely as to how they can participate in today's meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of our audience who wish to speak may submit their name into one of the speaker kiosks next to the city clerk or in the main lobby. We also offer the ability to provide live comments via Zoom and submit written comments through our e-comment system. For those who wish to participate virtually, visit zoom.us using any web browser or the Zoom app on smartphones or tablets and enter meeting ID 848-4853-1263. The passcode is 272906. You may also dial in by calling 669-900-6833 or 346-248-7799 and entering the same meeting ID and passcode. Those who wish to provide comments via Zoom are asked to enter the speaker queue by raising their hand electronically. The city clerk will call your name and allow you to unmute your microphone at the appropriate time. Those dialing by telephone will be identified by the last 3 digits of their telephone number. We ask that you please state your name for the record. The time limits per speaker are noted in the posted agenda and are established based on the number of requests submitted. All requests submitted after the first speaker is called shall receive 90 seconds. Those who wish to provide written comments may do so by clicking e-comment on the City Council meeting agenda webpage at cityofirvine.org/ICTV. All comments will be provided to the City Council as part of the meeting record and will be uploaded to the city's website. For technical assistance with Zoom before or during the meeting, please call 949-724-6078. For any other questions or assistance, please contact the City Clerk's office at 949-724-6205 or via email at clerk@cityofirvine.org. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. With that, the purpose of this special meeting is so that we might meet in closed session on items that will be described momentarily. Are there any requests from public citizens to be heard at this time?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Hearing no requests, I'm going to turn now to our city attorney, who will describe the items and purpose for the closed session, after which we will recess and convene in closed session. Mr. Melching.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 items on for closed session consideration today. The first item is a conference with legal counsel concerning an item of existing litigation. This is under Government Code Section 54956.9D2 or 3. The case is Soon Jung Na versus City of Irvine, Orange County Superior Court case number 30-2023-0134-9503. The second 2 items, so items numbers 2 and 3, are a conference with legal counsel concerning anticipated litigation. This is, both of these items involve the potential initiation of litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9D4. And again, 2 cases in that category, and that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Melching. With that, at this time, we'll recess and convene in closed session. Will the meeting once again come to order? We have been in a closed session as part of this afternoon's special meeting of the Irvine City Council. The time now is 4:30. I'm going to turn to our city attorney and ask whether there was reportable action for you to announce at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. On the first two items considered by the City Council in closed session, that would be item 1.1, and the first case in item 1.2, there was no reportable action. For the second case in item 1.2, the City Council provided direction to prepare an amicus brief for filing in the case of Vasquez Perdomo versus Christy Nome as head of the Department of Homeland Security, which amicus brief will be brought back to the City Council for further review at a later City Council meeting. The vote on that item was 4-3, with Vice Mayor Mai, Councilmember Carroll, and Councilmember Go voting no. And that's all.
Thank you. Unless anybody has something else, at this point we will accept a motion to adjourn this special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Liu, seconded by Vice Mayor and Councilmember James Mai. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treceder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carrie 7-0.
The meeting is adjourned. We will be meeting in our regular City Council meeting in a half hour at 5 p.m. Would the meeting please come to order? This is the August 12th, 2025 regular meeting of the Irvine City Council. At this time, which is 5:07, the meeting now having been properly called to order, we'll turn to our city clerk, Mr. Carl Peterson, to call the roll.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Go.
Here.
Councilmember Liu.
Here.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Here.
Councilmember Treceder.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Here.
And Mayor Agron.
Here. All of us being present, I'd like to turn to Mr. Peterson yet again to tell people, both gathered here and those who may be watching or listening from home, as to how they can participate in this afternoon's meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of our audience who wish to speak may submit their name into one of the speaker kiosks next to the city clerk or in the main lobby. We also offer the ability to provide live comments via Zoom and submit written comments through our e-comment system. For those who wish to participate virtually, visit zoom.us using any web browser or the Zoom app on smartphones or tablets and enter meeting ID 848-4853-1263. The passcode is 272906. You may also dial in by calling 669-900-6833 or 346-248-7799 and entering the same meeting ID and passcode. Those who wish to provide comments via Zoom are asked to enter the speaker queue by raising their hand electronically. The city clerk will call your name and allow you to unmute your microphone at the appropriate time. Those dialing in by telephone will be identified by the last 3 digits of their telephone number. We ask that you please state your name for the record. The time limits per speaker are noted in the posted agenda and are established based on the number of requests submitted. All requests submitted after the first speaker is called shall receive 90 seconds. Those who wish to provide written comments may do so by clicking e-comment on the City Council meeting agenda webpage at cityofirvine.org/ICTV. All comments will be provided to the City Council as part of the meeting record and will be uploaded to the city's website. For technical assistance with Zoom before or during the meeting, please call 949-724-6078. For any other questions or assistance, please contact the City Clerk's office at 949-724-6205 or via email at clerk@cityofirvine.org. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. At this time, I would invite those who are able in a moment to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing after the pledge. We will move on to the next part of our meeting if you'll remain standing. Tonight, I'm inviting Councilmember James Mai, also our Vice Mayor, to lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing. This is the invocation portion of our council meeting. The invocation tonight comes to us in the form of a musical presentation, beginning with a patriotic song that we're all aware of, the national anthem. At this time, I would like to invite forward several wonderful musicians. First, Kristen Wynn, please come forward. Peyton Huey, Isaac Seda, and Nash Wu. Each of these Irvine students and residents come to us from Woodbridge High School. These individuals are members of a Young Musicians Guild, a school club that hosts volunteer performances at senior homes to increase community awareness and to increase participation in the performing arts. The club is advised by Visual and Performing Arts Department Chair Jocelyn Blaisdell. And as part of tonight's invocation, the Young Musicians Guild will perform the national anthem, and after that, we'll be able to take our seats. Welcome. Let's give them a round of applause before they... Please, at this time, be seated. We are going to be treated now to a second song called Spring Hills, a Taiwanese folk song. So please, let's enjoy this presentation as well. Go right ahead. Thank you very, very much. For me, and I think for others as well, this is always the best part of a council meeting. Thank you again. Did you want to have somebody take a picture of you while we're here? All right. All the council members will just remain seated here, and you'll catch our smiling faces as well. Thank you. Thank you. And as they're making some adjustments here, we will move on to the next portion of our agenda on schedule. We'll be taking public comments on non-agendized items. This is an opportunity for the public to be heard as to items not on the published agenda, but nevertheless within our subject matter jurisdiction. And typically we limit those public comments to 30 minutes, which we will do so tonight. How many requests do we have?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 20 requests to speak.
How many?
20.
20. We'll limit any public comments then to 90 seconds. And we won't be taking any additional ones. And we will call upon our first commenter at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could call the first 5 speakers forward, Mary Frower, Nick Torres, Ryan Sanchez, Mr. Patriot, and Mark Torres. And we'll start with Mary.
Additional folks can line up over to the side. Thank you. Please go right ahead. You have 90 seconds.
Okay. I'm Mary Fruhar, and these comments are mostly about the dog park, as usual. I noticed you guys had put in new water containers, which were a waste of money, just because they don't drain out. So it's just when the water gets below a certain amount, more water comes in, and it's contaminated water that has fresh water put in onto it. There are better mechanisms that could have been used, and I guess if maybe there had been input by people who have dogs, they might have been able to help you with that. When you're getting new things, which we really appreciate, by the way, it would be good if you had our input for that. Speaking of that water, the water in the front, which is the only water for the small dog park, but it's the second water for the big dog park, it sits in the sun all the time. There's no shade for it whatsoever, so that water is hot all the time. Shade for that would be extremely helpful. And do you have any idea when the recycling people will be leaving?
I'm sorry, what?
When the recycling people that are in front, do you have any idea when they might be leaving? My understanding is that...
Thank you. Your time is up.
Let's do this. We have very capable staff here. You raise a couple of very good points. I'd like the city manager to assign somebody to confer with this speaker and see if we can address your concerns.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Nick?
Is my time starting?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, hello, my name is Nick Torres. I'm a proud Trump supporter, 3-time Trump voter, and I'm a proud American. My comments tonight are directed at Betty Martinez-Franco. Betty, on July 8th, you wore a shirt that said Chinga La Migra, insulting the brave men of ICE who are currently doing the job that previous governments have failed to do for 60 years. So I just wanted to know, do you know what the definition of invasion is? It's an unwelcome intrusion into another domain. So when you entered the country illegally, like you brag about doing, you entered into our country as an unwelcome guest. And fortunately, we've elected people like President Trump to deport people like you. And I'm actually proud to say that I filed a report with the city of ICE, with ICE mentioning that the city of Irvine is harboring illegal aliens. So I'd like to make that known. The second definition I have here for you is subversion. And again, this is directed to Councilmember Franco. Are you aware with what subversion means? Okay, perhaps not. I know English isn't your first language, but it means the undermining of the power and authority of an established system or institution. So by sneaking into our country illegally and participating in an invasion, and now acting as a member of the Irvine City Council, you're actively subverting the United States, and you are an enemy to this country, and you need to be removed. And further, I'd like to ask the Republicans on the council, Mike Carroll, James Mai, I looked through your social media. We didn't elect you to wish everyone happy Hanukkah, Mike. We didn't elect you, James, to wish everyone happy Martin Luther King Day.
Your time is up.
We elected you to support President Trump. Do your job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your sharing your views.
Brian?
Next speaker, please. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Ryan Sanchez. I'm a UC Irvine student, and I would like to thank Betty Martinez-Franco for her very radical shirt she's wearing, in addition to the one she wore last month that the previous speaker mentioned. Thank you for letting the mask slip to what a subversive parasite you are, and the ideology that you represent, the ingratitude and the raw subversion. You come into our country, our law enforcement displays immense mercy, not sending you back home as soon as you came over here. We give you a green card, and how do you repay this country? You get into a position of government, and you spit in the face of law enforcement and American citizens. And as the guy before me said, James, Mike, now is not the time for cowardice. Now is the time to have backbone and show the American people that you have our backs. Thank you.
Speaker?
Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Hi. Hi, my name's Andrew. I grew up around illegal Mexicans and Mexican nationalists like Betty Martinez-Franco, and I've dealt with the consequences of illegal immigration firsthand, whether being turned down for promotion or laughed at when looking for a job, or even fighting criminal illegals in school or on the streets. We don't want revanchism and Mexican nationalist propagandists and illegals in our county, let alone representing us in our city council meetings. Do we have to call Tom Homan and have ICE come down here? What are you guys gonna do to get this handled? Because we support ICE and we don't want this in our county or our city. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Mr. Torres, and if I could also call forward Jim Kay, Susan Sayer, Gabriel
Welcome, sir.
Dumas-Smith, Andrew Craig, and Jason Garshfield.
Go right ahead. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. My name's Mark A. Torres, and I'm with other friends here today to remind the Irvine City Council that President Donald Trump is the President of the United States. California hasn't seceded from the Union yet, I don't believe, although its behavior with all of the politicians that are making bad policies for the rest of us to live with, I believe is happening. So I go back to President Trump's agenda. I think that everyone needs to keep in mind on both sides of the aisle, both Republican and Democrat, President Trump ordered mass deportations for a reason. And that's because we have too many illegal people in the country, and it hasn't just started in the last 4 years. It's been going on since the 90s. Orange County Register made a point that over 22,000 illegals were crossing the border a day back in the 90s. So illegal citizens or illegal people that are coming into our country, they need to go away. Cities like Santa Ana don't need to provide $100,000 in grants to assist people to live. They need to provide $100,000 in grants to ICE to help get the bad people out. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please.
Can I start now?
Wait, no, just wait one moment. I want to request that the people in the audience be respectful and observe the rules of orderly conduct of our city council proceedings. We don't want speakers interfered with. We don't want a meeting to be disturbed and disrupted. And I think if everybody cooperates, everybody will have their say. Welcome. Welcome. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name's Susan Sayer. I'm a longtime Irvine resident, and I live at Regents Point Senior Community. I recently got my library card at Heritage Library. Now all I need is for Irvine Connect to take me there. You all voted to expand Irvine Connect to 4 routes, including the area of Irvine located west of the 405 freeway, pending citywide ridership survey, which will be accessible for all Irvine residents, including seniors and disabled people who do not use the internet or social media, and which we have yet to receive. Most seniors and disabled residents and those who do not drive who reside east of the 405 now have access to the Irvine Connect public transportation system. We seniors and disabled residents and those of us who do not drive who live west of the 405 have been totally excluded from the Irvine Connect public transportation system. As you all have stated over and over again, Irvine is a large city now. It is time for you to rise up and have Irvine act like one by developing a public transportation system that serves all Irvine residents. I want you to know that a lot of people watch Irvine City Council meetings on TV. I walk in Mason Park on a daily basis. Lately, I've had people come up to me saying they know me and hear me
Thank you. Your time is up.
on my comments, and they're asking me when I can get Irvine Connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sayers. Thank you.
Gabriel?
We know you and we do hear you. Thank you.
Right.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Gabriel Dima-Smith, External Affairs Manager with the Orange County Power Authority, Irvine's default energy provider. For the members of the community who may not know us, OCPA is a not-for-profit, locally governed energy provider that offers renewable energy options to its customers. But today, I wanted to stop by tonight to just share a quick few updates about great things we've been doing in the community. Many customers are on what's called a time of use rate, which means the price of energy is higher during on-peak hours, typically between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m., and lower during off-peak hours. Shifting big energy using activities like washing clothes or running the dishwasher to earlier in the day is an easy way to save on your electric bill. You can also close your blinds and drapes to keep heat out and pre-cool your home or apartment to 72 degrees before 4 p.m. so you're not using as much energy or AC after 5 p.m. I also want to mention some of the customer programs we have right now. OCPA can get $50 worth of energy-saving tools, including LED light bulbs and smart power strips from our marketplace. Currently, our marketplace is offering level 2 home EV chargers with a rebate. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Andrew Craig?
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. My name is Andrew Craig. I'm a real estate developer and general contractor. I support Irvine Police Department. They're the #1 police department in the nation. I want to keep them there. That takes training. And I plan on donating, I said last time, $40 million to develop a facility. I'm going to increase that to $100 million because I've done my research and it's going to take more money to build a state-of-the-art facility. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to develop I've already talked to the planning department, the zoning department, the building department. I've talked to everybody. We're all doing our research right now to figure out how to streamline this process so we can get us built as fast as possible. That's my goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Jason Garshfield, and if I could also call forward Johnny J., Alan Meyerson, Jisung Choi, Mona, and Derek Shirk.
Welcome.
Hey, all. So I don't agree with the council member shirt either, but you guys are the biggest bunch of losers I've seen in this room in at least a year. Nick Torres, so here's the thing. You're a Catholic. 150 years ago, people would have said that America is a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant country, and you aren't American, just like some people might say that I'm not American because I'm a Jew. So, yeah, happy Hanukkah, bitches. So, I also, and speaking of civility, I would like to point out that I think the mayor is a hypocrite for once again. And this issue has to keep getting brought up. You said tonight, we don't want a meeting to be disturbed and disrupted, and yet you did that.
We don't want any further disturbances. In a moment, I'm going to turn to the city attorney, and he'll advise you of next steps if that becomes necessary. Please allow the speaker to finish his remarks. Make sure you restore his time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On a somewhat lighter note, I came here today to say that I think we need to loosen zoning restrictions in Irvine. We hear people talk a lot about car accidents and the kids running around on e-bikes. Well, that would be far less likely to happen if Irvine was a more walkable community. So we can either have this sort of tight-knit, fully regimented zoning plan, or we could loosen up a little bit and maybe not have to worry about having so many accidents, having to drive everywhere, whether it's 5 minutes away or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Johnny?
Next speaker, please. Welcome, sir.
Hi, welcome. I'm here today to make sure that the city of Irvine supports our country, supports our president, supports our Constitution, and also supports ICE. The people of America made a mandate when they voted for President Trump. He's won 3 elections in a row, but in the interim, when Joe Biden was in office, they almost destroyed our country. That was their intent. So I encourage Irvine to support ICE and also to recognize that Betty Martinez Franco has taken action, made statements, worn clothing, and done other things to disrespect ICE, disrespect our country, and go against the mandate of President Trump. So if there's people that are not here and not pledging their allegiance to our country and to our Constitution, then they can go to whatever country they do support and have their allegiance to. So as I asked Dennis Prager once, I asked him about America First. He said, yes, America first, but not America only. And we should care about other countries, but we need to take care of our country first. And the people that don't care about our country and care about America or the city of Irvine or the safety of the citizens of Irvine, you need to take note. So God bless you. God bless America. And if you can hear me, you can see me. Your parents chose life. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. Welcome. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, council members. Alan Meyerson. I wanted to briefly state that I worked in the service industry for 35 years or more. Many times management above made decisions that affected the workers, and they considered that. But what they didn't consider was how the decisions they were making was going to affect the customer. Something like that is actually happening in Irvine right now. I go to the senior center every day with my wife for lunch. And there's an employee that sits at the front desk that helps everybody. She's been a part-time employee for over 20 years, and the city has decided that they wanted to move her to Rancho. I know for a fact she doesn't want to go, and I also know that I put together a petition and had over 50 signatures from seniors that eat at the senior center that don't want her to go because they have a relationship with her. So I've handed that petition to the city manager. Hopefully the idea of her moving will be changed. And it's just a sample size. The only people I got signatures from were people that eat at the senior center. I did not get any signatures from people that play bingo or people that go to the knitting class or any of the other activities that go on at the senior center. This is over 50 people that just eat there. So if you use that as a sample size, you'll see that this employee has a relationship with a lot of seniors there. She wants to stay there. She does not know anything about the petition.
Thank you. Your time is up.
So, thank you.
Thank you. I would ask you to stay in touch with our senior staff on all these matters, if you would, all right? I'm sure they'll be talking to you.
Chisun Choi.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jisung Choi, and I'm a student here in Irvine, and a member of B Team, a youth-led nonprofit organization focused on sustainability and community service. So I'm working on a project to install recycling bins at gas stations across Irvine. So right now, these high-traffic locations don't offer recycling options, which leads to bottles, cans, and other recyclables ending up in the trash. And this not only contributes to landfill waste, but it also goes against Irvine's long-term goals for sustainability and carbon neutrality. So by adding clearly labeled recycling bins, we can encourage more responsible habits and make it easier for residents and visitors to recycle. Through B Team, I hope to partner with the city or local businesses to pilot this initiative and scale it responsibly. To show community support, I've also started a petition that has gathered over 200 signatures so far, and I'd appreciate if this idea could be considered for a future agenda, and I'd be happy to share more details with anybody interested after the meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your remarks.
Mona.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening. How are you guys? I've missed you. As usual, I come in thinking about talking about something and I talk about something else. I have mentioned this before, when we listen to racism, when we listen to very offensive things, and we continue, and I applaud you guys for keeping a poker face. This is a community of diversity. This is a country of immigrants. This is how this country was built. Immigrants, people who came from another country and took over the land from the indigenous people. And that's not saying that country comes first. The same people who are talking about respecting the Constitution should be reading the Constitution. We should be looking at freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Those are part of what we have as rights. It's not one person's decision to decide whether it's right or wrong. You have the freedom of expressing yourself whichever way you want. We are a nation of immigrants. So racism doesn't work here, and this is Irvine. We are diverse.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. My name's Derek Shirk. I live in Orange Tree. I'm going to keep this one brief. So back in May, the council approved a memorandum of understanding with the Irvine company. And within that agreement, there were several things that were supposed to happen.
Excuse me, sir. I think you're speaking to item 3.1 on the agenda tonight.
I'm not talking about the ballot measure. I'm talking about the memorandum of understanding that was approved in May. And I'm asking...
I'll allow you to go ahead, but I think you're more appropriately addressing 3.1.
Well, my question is, okay, so within that agreement, there were several things that were supposed to happen within 60 days. There was supposed to be a payment of $3 million from the Irvine company to the city, and there were supposed to be 75 vouchers provided, 75 affordable housing vouchers provided to the city. And so my question is, was that $3 million payment made, and were those 75 vouchers provided to the city? That's why I'm up here right now. I'm just wanting to ask, did those things happen? Or did the Irvine company not follow through on their promise? That's That's all I'm asking. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time to share your views with us.
If I could call forward Crit, followed by Wing Chow.
How many speakers do we have remaining?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 more in person. We have 2 on Zoom.
And that will get us to the original 20.
That's the original 20, correct.
All right.
Crit.
I think he's coming down the stairs. Welcome, sir.
Hello, City Council, Mayor Irvine. I want to thank the speakers that speak for freedom and understand that the Constitution isn't just a thing you state, you know about, you read it, you know what it says. That's a simple thing. I thank everyone here. I am here to talk about the dog park. And the dog park is having a lot of improvements. We're hearing a lot of good things back from people. We still have 1 dog park, so we need to get more done, which William Goes, Chief of Staff, Calvin Alvarez, and Mike Carroll's, Elizabeth Volt, had a call with me, a Zoom call, and we went over the great park and what's possible there and kind of feeling things out. So we're making some progress on additional dog parks. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Wing Chow.
Welcome, Wing Chow.
My name is Wing Chow. I was one of 7 candidates for mayor last year. All of us are here because we want Irvine to be a better place, a better city, a better world. When I was young, I always memorized the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. I want to just quote a few sentences. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, not strife. Where there's sadness, joy, darkness, light. O divine Master, grant that I not so much to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. Today, instead of trying to want other people to do something for you, ask yourself what you can do for the city of Irvine. I also remember what he said that, Lord, give me grace to accept things that I cannot change, and wisdom and the strength to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sometimes it's hard to make choices. We just remember dropping an atomic bomb during World War II, the end of the war. A lot of debate on that issue. The alternative, to sacrifice 1 million Allied soldiers. So sometimes in life, it's not just good or evil. It's the lesser of 2 evils. I know there's a lot of debate about the golf course, that you can consider the environment or people with affordable housing.
Thank you. Thank you, Wing Chow. Our next speaker, please.
Mr. Mayor, our last in-person speaker has AV material, so I'll transition over to Zoom for our 2 speakers there, and then I'll come back if that's okay with you.
I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty understanding what you're...
No worries. Our last individual in person has AV materials, and so if I can, I'll go to the Zoom speakers, and then we'll come back to him.
All right, fine.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker is Bob. Bob, you may unmute your mic.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Good. My name is Bob Middlestead. I'm a retired partner from the law firm of Jones Day, which has an office in Irvine, and I co-founded a nonprofit called E-Bike Access based in Marin County, where I live. From your October 22 meeting, it's clear that this council rightfully prides itself on being a leader in addressing the problems caused by e-bikes, but also realizes that much more is left to be done. I'd like to make 3 suggestions based on our experience in Marin County that you might find helpful. First, I think it's important to find out what the youth are actually riding. We did this in Marin by physically counting the e-bikes, the bikes, and the e-motorcycles, which are more powerful and not legal e-bikes, at our schools. This helped us to identify and quantify the problem, and then to have a metric to measure success. Second, if your experience is anything like Marin's, you'll find that the large majority of so-called e-bikes at the schools are actually e-motorcycles that under existing law are not street legal for anyone to ride. So we have current laws that can be enforced against these e-motorcycles, and doing that will have a major and a relatively immediate impact. As a side note, at your October meeting, Mr. Mayor, you called for a report by November 26th.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Oh, if he's still on, just let him finish that last sentence, please.
Bob, you may unmute your mic.
You called for a report for November 26th on the scope of your authority. I looked for that report. I didn't see it anywhere, and I think I'm just curious whether that report ever happened or not, because one of the things you asked for, Mr. Mayor, was how to expand your authority, and our experience in Marin is that we now have the authority to require children to be at least 16 to ride these throttle e-bikes, and that's been very successful, and I suggest you consider that as well.
Thank you. Thank you, and I'll just say for the benefit of the caller that we are indeed preparing a report to the council in that regard, and it will be on our agenda soon.
Our next speaker is telephone number 347. 347, you may unmute your mic.
Hi, this is Dee Fox. This is regarding the closed session item that was taken at 3 p.m. with no time for the public to engage, as the mayor asked if there were any public comments prior to the item being read. I did, however, immediately raise my hand at that time, but was not recognized. The item is Councilmember Franco's memo regarding city participation in a federal civil rights litigation. First of all, what litigation? The lawsuit that the city attorney mentioned after the council went back to deliberate, and that was not mentioned in the memo, and that the public had no time to engage in, makes it even more suspect as to the city council getting involved in matters of the federal government that we have no jurisdiction over. We are not a party to this lawsuit, and if Ms. Franco wants to speak to the head of Homeland Security to state her opinion, by all means, have her do so. But to abuse her position on this council and ask the city attorney to do a letter in support of this lawsuit is assuming that she speaks for all of Irvine, which she does not. If Ms. Franco wants to take a political stand on an issue that cannot be changed or amended by the city council, then why is she wasting our tax dollars and our resources? It's clear that Ms. Franco does not believe that illegal aliens should be deported. However, the federal government begs to differ. Legal immigrants often wait years, pay significant fees, submit extensive paperwork, pass background checks, and meet strict requirements. It is unfair to allow others to bypass this process. Thank you.
And if I could call forward Max Egg.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. 2 weeks ago, during City Council meeting, one of the speakers mentioned that Irvine was planned for a population between 375 and 400,000 people, both today, when he moved in 1997, and even back in 1983. This information is incorrect. Irvine was never planned for that many people. Next slide, please. Not everyone likes this newspaper, but I have to admit, they reported this correctly. Irvine was originally planned for 250,000 residents. And even today, our population has already exceeded that number. And they better keep this information online. Next slide, please. The city's own website states projection between 327,000 and 700 residents by 2045. These are facts, not just numbers pulled out of the thin air. Next slide, please. The speaker was also selectively correct about prices, referring only to the most expensive hours. Next slide, please. In reality, prices can be significantly less expensive. For example, rate starts as low as $18 and facilities open daily till 10 p.m. Let's make decisions based on facts. And it's very sad that the residents have to donate money and find the truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is all of the original list of speakers, Mayor.
That's all the speakers for this
All
item.
of the original list, correct.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone's cooperation. This allows us to move beyond public comments for non-agendized items to the balance of our agenda, beginning with the city manager's report. Let me recognize City Manager Sean Crumby.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I have just three quick city manager comments tonight. First, for the first item, I want to just talk for a moment about our city library system. I'm pleased to share that we successfully held 2 grand openings on August 3rd to celebrate the newly renovated Irvine Public Libraries at Heritage Park and University Park. These milestones represent a significant investment in our community, and I want to extend my sincere appreciation to Community and Library Services Director Chris Lama, City Librarian Julie Zioli, and Senior Project Manager Bobby Gaemi for their hard work and leadership. Their efforts have helped create really an enriching space for our community in the future. I was really touched and impressed personally by how many people attended the ribbon cuttings and celebrated the new system. So just for a brief moment, wanted to invite Chris Lama up to just talk about those ribbon cuttings. Chris?
Thank you, Sean. Good evening, Mayor Agrin and council members. Yes, as Sean mentioned, really excited to talk to you about the recent grand opening of the Irvine Public Library System. So on Sunday, last Sunday, August 3rd, City of Irvine celebrated that major milestone with the grand opening of the newly updated Irvine Public Library System. Ribbon cutting ceremonies were held at both Heritage Park and University Park libraries, marking the beginning of a new era in community-focused library services. As many of you saw, residents turned out in large numbers to explore the reimagined library spaces, which now feature enhanced seating, new materials added to the collection, and a renewed commitment to lifelong learning. The event included live entertainment, family-friendly crafts, engaging activities for all ages, and really showcasing the library as a vibrant community hub. Again, the response was overwhelming. I heard the mayor in an interview recently, and I think we all expected maybe dozens of people, but there were hundreds of people that came out, and that's how excited they were. More than 1,200 library cards were issued, and over 3,600 items were checked out during just that few hours on Sunday. And since staff began processing and issuing library cards in late May, we've registered over 7,500 Irvine Public Library cards and loaned over 18,000 items. So this grand opening, again, we really feel that reflects the city's vision for an innovative and inclusive library system that meets the evolving needs of its residents, and while honoring the city's commitment to education, culture, and connectivity. And to Sean's point, I'd like to also just like to note that this work could not have been done without just a true team effort across all departments, in particular, the Public Works Department Facilities Division, the Administrative Services, Information Technology Division, our colleagues in the Human Resources Department, and the Communications and Engagement Department. And really so many others were just instrumental in helping to reopen the libraries. Again, this effort just truly exemplifies what it means to be one team with one focus. And of course, thank you again to the City Council and City leadership for your support, and probably most importantly to the community that all came out and continues to visit the libraries under the city's operations. And just a couple of quick updates moving forward. We wanted to let the council also know that the Friends groups at Heritage Park and University Park have recently signed memoranda of understanding with the city and are actively working towards reopening their bookstores. This has been a popular question over the last couple of weeks, and so we do anticipate that both the Friends will open their stores next Monday, August 18th. So feel free to go visit the Friends of the Libraries at Heritage and University Park. We continue to work with the Friends of Katie Wheeler Library as we look to get in the doors of that library when the county lets us in on January 1st of 2026. And then further, as this council is aware, city staff has been working on a location feasibility study. As requested by council in April, we anticipate presenting the findings of that study to this council on October the 14th. So that's my update. Again, appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and on behalf of the entire City Council, we're just so proud and pleased with the extraordinarily successful transition that's been underway. It's been a remarkable, remarkable organizational achievement. So thank you all, everybody who was involved. Yes.
Mayor, if you'll
Mr.
allow
Crombie,
me.
you have further announcements.
Yeah, just two more, I'll be really quick, two more quick announcements. First one is related to immigration. I'd just like to provide a quick update on our city immigration resources. Our team is tracking the occurrences when federal agencies do come to Irvine. We're not always notified in advance of activities. The city has updated our webpage with an immigration site, and we have a link directly from our homepage, so trying to make it as easy as possible to find and get to. The webpage has recently been updated, as I mentioned, and includes a list of nonprofit resources that can hopefully provide assistance and help. And we're going to work on keeping it regularly updated as much as possible. Second announcement is just related to staffing. I have two staffing announcements that I'm very excited to go through. The first one is to announce Karen Koch. Karen is our new Economic Development Director. You may recall that last year, our city presented some research compiled by our staff with the Chamber of Commerce, and we really decided that it was just an exciting time in economic development and wanted to move forward with filling our vacancies in that group. Karen is just a wonderful hire for us. She brings an extensive experience in economic development, having most recently served as the executive director for University Lab Partners, a nonprofit life science accelerator. In that role, she led efforts to raise over $535 million and helped create more than 450 jobs. We're really, really excited to welcome Karen to the team. Karen, are you here? Can you wave, please? That's Karen.
Welcome. Welcome. Stand up so people can see you.
Second and final announcement is related to Public Works and Sustainability Department. So as everybody hopefully is aware, Luis Estevez has now moved over to our Great Park team and is leading our execution efforts there. But as such, there's a need for leadership within our Public Works and Sustainability Department. Stepping into that department in an acting role is Alex Salazar. Alex brings over 22 years of experience in consulting, public agency operations, and executive management. In this role, Alex will lead our team in developing and implementing our city's capital improvement program, which is very, very aggressive right now. We've got major initiatives such as our Civic Center West project that we're finishing and the Irvine Fieldhouse in progress. He'll also see infrastructure planning, design, construction, and maintenance of roads, bridges, parks, public buildings and trails, and other city-owned facilities. Alex, are you in the audience? Alex, please stand up. This is Alex Salazar.
And are all the orange vests representative of his support group?
I hope so.
All right. We welcome you all, and we acknowledge the wonderful work that you do day in and day out in our city. Thank you.
One last thing, we've launched a recruitment for the Director of Public Works, a nationwide recruitment, so that'll be in progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your city manager's report. That allows us to move on to City Council member announcements, committee reports, council reports. I see that Councilmember Liu wishes to be acknowledged here to make a brief report, followed by Councilmember Carroll, and then Councilmember Martinez-Franco. Councilmember Liu, go right ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm going to share a few things that we've been doing for the city of Irvine. Okay, next slide, please. On July 26th, I had the honor of presenting a City of Irvine certificate to Hope Center for the Arts, a nonprofit that empowers adults with disabilities to discover their talents through art and music. Their summer night extravaganza featured art, live music, and a silent auction benefiting Hope, and a hosted bar by Love Irvine. I strongly encourage people to get involved in both organizations. Next, please. On August 1st, I spoke at the Cal Asian Chamber's Trailblazers Women's Pitch Competition at UCI, encouraging finalists to grow their ideas in Irvine and reaffirming my commitment to making our city a place where women entrepreneurs can thrive. Congrats to Asaichi for her winning innovation for a healthier and more sustainable floral industry. Next, please. Team Lu proudly hosted the U.S. Army's 419th Combat Sustainment Support Battalion, based in Tustin, at Bill Barber Community Park for their Organization Day. My Chief of Staff and U.S. Army's Staff Sergeant Yvette Kim served the unit with the special coffee bar she created for the occasion. Next, please. After over 20 years of working with the Pacific Symphony, last Friday was Symphony Director Carl Sinclair's finale, whom we had the honor to celebrate in Irvine at the Great Park Life Amphitheater. And it was truly an honor to be there to celebrate Maestro Sinclair with my colleagues. Next, please. Okay, in announcement of our activity, join us this Sunday, August 17th for a Meet the Council Member event at Pete's Coffee in Orchard Hills from 10 a.m. to noon. Stop by for coffee and chance to connect, share your thoughts, and learn more about what's happening in our neighborhood. Next, please. Come join Tim Lu and Assemblymember Pitry Norris for our American Red Cross Blood Drive on September 3rd at the Northwood Senior Center. Community Center, I'm sorry. The event will take place from noon to 6 p.m. at the Northwood Community Center. Again, please use our social media and sign up under the code Irvine. Next, please. On September 4th at Quail Hill Community Center, my office, alongside with Vice Chair Katrina Foley, will host a firearm safety event on how to safely store firearms with a presentation by IPD. Please be sure to check our social media for more information on this event. Next, please. Okay, the Irvine 211 Marine Adoption Committee is hosting a donation drive to sponsor Marines for the Marine Birthday Ball, celebrating the Marine Corps' 250th anniversary. For $100, you can help a Marine and his a spouse attend the ball. And last one, please. Okay, on a feel-good note, last week our office visited the Irvine Animal Care Center, which is hosting its Clear the Shelter event now through August 31st with reduced cost adoptions. Be sure to visit their website for more details and mark your calendars for September 16th, Comedy Unleashed at the Irvine Improv that will raise funds to support animals in need. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Liu. Next is Councilmember Mike Carroll.
Great, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I just have a brief announcement. I'd like to take a moment to thank my 2025 summer interns. Those that are here, please stand up. I'd like to honor you guys. I see 3 of my 4 interns. Armia, Isabella, Isaac, and Tyler, I want to thank you. Yeah, you can give them a round of applause. We got 2 high schoolers and 2 USC Trojans on the intern team. I want to thank them for the incredible work that the 4 of you did this summer. You know, from day one, you rolled up your sleeves and you got involved. You helped out at my community events. You supported our major projects, and you brought a lot of energy and fresh ideas to my office and to the city. We talked a little bit with you yesterday, and as I said, I'll just say it again. I really appreciate all the hard work that you did, your professionalism as young men and women, and the way that you jumped in to serve the Irvine community. I wish you the very best ahead. I know that you'll carry the same drive wherever you do, and please don't forget to heed my call. No matter your political philosophy, your ideology, I know you 4 all over the place, and I really don't care. You're important to me, and what matters is that you care about civics. You care about government. You care about getting people involved, and this is a perfect example because you got a full house. This is a community that you serve. These are people that have come here to be heard, to have their voices heard through speech, and for us to sit here and listen and to do our best job to try to deliberate for the greatest city in the United States of America, Irvine, California. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilmember Carroll. Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Thank you. I have a few announcements. If we can bring the slides. 2 weeks ago, I had the honor of taking the oath of office as one of the newest members of the Orange County Fire Authority Board of Directors. This role is deeply important to me because it means I can make sure the voices of all Irvine residents and our diverse perspectives are represented and heard at the table where decisions are made. Second slide. I'm also excited to share that I've joined the board of directors at the Irvine Barclay Theater. I recently toured the theater, got a look at their amazing programs, and received a renovation update, which includes an exciting expansion to the theater. Next. Now, I wanted to invite the community to the Irvine Police Department's hands-on e-bike rider training that is happening tomorrow, Wednesday, August 13, at Rancho San Joaquin Middle School. This free training is for riders ages 12 to 17, but a parent or guardian must attend with each participant. Please email whil@cityofirvine.org to enroll in one of the 3 sessions offered. I hope to see you there. Next. I am very excited to announce that my team and I are launching health and wellness talks in District 5 with Councilmember Betty Martinez Franco. These monthly gatherings will be a chance to connect, listen to your concerns, and promote a healthier lifestyle. Our very first event will be a yoga in the park on Saturday, September 6th from 9 to 11 a.m. in partnership with Yoga with Mona at Colonel Bill Barber Park. Following the yoga class, there will be open conversations with me so I can listen to any concerns or questions you may have. So I invite you to bring your yoga mat, and we'll bring the coffee. So please RSVP by scanning the QR code on the bottom left corner or visit my social media, Facebook and Instagram. We have the flyer in there. Next. And last, this past month, my office sent out our very first e-newsletter. You can scan the QR code and the screen to be added to our email list and be kept up to date with everything happening in Irvine and District 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Martinez. Thank you, Councilmember Martinez Franco. Not seeing any other council members wishing to be recognized, I have just a few announcements that we'll conclude with here. First, regarding a splash-in movie and recreation swim, William Willett Jr. Aquatic Center will host its annual Splash-In Movie and Recreation Swim on Saturday, August 23rd. Bring the family out to watch Shrek on the big screen while you cool off in the pool. Enjoy recreation swim for $2.50 per child, and $5 per adult. The pool opens at 6:30 p.m., with the movie beginning at 7:15 p.m. Lifeguards will be on duty. An adult must accompany children 6 and younger one-on-one if they are in the water during the movie. Families can bring floaties, you know, those plastic floaties, to the event and exchange them because they're very dangerous for a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket through the city's Floaty Exchange program. These are free life jackets available to youngsters and non-swimmers. An initiative, this is supporting ongoing efforts to ensure a water-safe summer this summer and beyond, and that program, incidentally, I understand, has been moving along very, very well, making our community a safer one. Life jackets are available for children ages 6 and younger while supplies last. Next, We have a new art exhibition coming to City Hall this week. Greg Price, Smooth Ripple, opens Thursday, August 14th, and the community is invited to meet the artist and learn more about his works on display during a free opening reception from 2 to 4 p.m. right here at City Hall. This solo exhibition features a series of vibrant, wall-mounted glass sculptures. You really don't want to miss it. In fact, they're up a good many of them now. I hope you'll take the time to attend the opening and visit the exhibition, which will be on display through December 12th. To learn more, visit artsinirvine.org/exhibitions. Next, residents are invited to help shape the future of Heritage Community Park at a workshop being held at the Community Center on Thursday, August 21st from 7 to 8:30 p.m. This workshop is part of a broader effort to update the Heritage Community Park Master Plan, reassess the site, and develop a refreshed vision for the park that will better serve our community. The workshop will offer a unique opportunity to explore Heritage Park through the perspectives of different community members, sparking collaboration and perhaps even transformative insights for a more inclusive space. This is the second in a series of workshops. A third workshop is planned for Thursday, September 18th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Each workshop builds off the previous session. Residents are strongly encouraged to attend as many as possible. All ages and abilities are welcome. To learn more and sign up for the workshops, please visit cityofirvine.org/Heritage Park Plan. And I know that Vice Mayor James Mai, who represents as a council member District 3, will be especially interested in talking with you about your various insights on this important project. Next, the fall issue of Inside Irvine is available online at cityofirvine.org/Inside Irvine. This issue, and each and every issue, is so informative. This issue highlights the grand opening of our Irvine Public Library, our award-winning park system ranked second in the nation and first in California, our efforts to prevent wildfires in our open space, and our fall festivals celebrating the rich cultural diversity of our city. Plus, you can browse classes, programs, and events available for children and adults in the activity guide. Inside Irvine will arrive in homes this week in time for class registration, which opens Friday, August 15th. To see the most updated activities and sign up, visit Your Irvine, that's Y-O-U-R, Irvine, yourirvine.org. And finally, I have a sad announcement. We'll be adjourning this evening's meeting in memory of Virginia Nichols. Virginia was hired by the Irvine Police Department as a crossing guard in February 2015 and had been assigned to Deerfield Elementary School for the past 7 years. Her partner, Joe, shared that, quote, the highlight of her life was being a crossing guard, close quote. Virginia loved the students she served and especially cherished the cultural diversity that makes Deerfield so special. She was a member of CERT, that's our Community Emergency Response Team, and get this, she had written 24 books on emergency preparedness, winning several national awards for her work. Virginia raced Porsches throughout the U.S., and her partner Joe would be the first to admit she was the better driver. As we remember Virginia's kindness and unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of others, we extend our deepest condolences to her family and friends, including Joe, her son and daughter, and all those whose lives she touched. So thank you for your service, Virginia Nichols. And now, no further announcements being in order. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda, Mr. Crumby?
None tonight.
There being no additions or deletions, we move to the consent calendar, which tonight consists of items 1.1 to 1.12. Consent calendar items are generally regarded as items that are routine and are approved typically on a single roll call vote. Citizens do, however, have an opportunity to comment on these items before we take them up for adoption. Are there any requests tonight, Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Mayor. We do have one request to speak in person on item 1.7.
All right. Why don't we call that individual forward? Item 1.7, and who would that be?
Thank you, Mayor. If I could call forward Adrian.
Apparently he has departed, so we have no public comments on the consent calendar. Therefore, a motion would be in order to adopt the entire consent calendar. Also move the adoption of the consent calendar, items 1.1 to 1.12.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor and Councilmember James Mai. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treseder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
There we are. That takes us then to here we are. Item 2, which is public hearings. Public hearings typically are a little more formal, although they may be very, very brief. Public hearings give the opportunity for the public to speak to items requiring a public hearing. There are several tonight. I think we will go quickly through these. First, let me begin with item 2.1. Would the clerk please identify this item by subject and title?
General Plan Amendment, Zone Change, and Development Agreement for Residential Development in Planning Area 25.
Thank you. The recommended action, do I need to open the public hearing for a motion to continue? Staff recommendation is that this item be continued, the public hearing to September 9th, 2025 at 5 p.m. or soon thereafter. I'll move continuance. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Seconded by Councilmember Carroll. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treseder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Thank you. We now move on to public hearing item 2.2. Would the clerk please identify this item by subject and title?
Zoning Ordinance Technical Update and Irvine Municipal Code Amendment.
Thank you. With that, I'll declare the public hearing now open and invite forward our staff to please introduce yourselves and describe what this item is about.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I am Tiffany Lynn, a senior planner with the Community Development Department, and I am joined by Principal Planner Nick Maloney. And the item before you this evening is a citywide zoning ordinance technical update. This update is the second of the year and aims to streamline procedures, correct inconsistencies, and incorporate new regulations. Key highlights included as part of the current update include updated department references to reflect the new Irvine Public Library system, new definitions, including those for alternative and charter schools, a new land use category for alternative schools, land use adjustments to commercial recreation uses in the 8.1 Trails and Transit-Oriented Development Zone, and to administrative office uses in the 5.1 IBC Multi-Use Zone, standardized appeal periods for director approvals, and updated noticing requirements for zone changes, height requirements for wireless facilities in certain areas, ADU requirements in compliance with state law, minor corrections and updates to the residential and residential mixed-use standards, and changes to Planning Area 36, Irvine Business Complex requirements, to reflect the new citywide development impact fee that was previously adopted by City Council. The citywide code update went before the Planning Commission on July 17th, and the Planning Commission unanimously recommended City Council approval of the proposed update, inclusive of changes included in an errata. Notice of this item was published and posted at city-designated locations, and to date, staff has not received any public comment. This project is exempt from environmental review under the general rule exemption, as the update is limited to modification of the zoning ordinance and municipal code, which will not directly result in any development. Overall, the code update introduces needed regulations and provides both internal consistency as well as compliance with state regulations. With that, staff does recommend the City Council adopt the attached ordinances, approving the citywide code update on first reading. And this concludes staff's presentation, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff at this time or comments? Are there any requests from the public to be heard?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 requests in person.
Very well. Let's hear from those individuals now.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could call forward Michael Maxenti and Derek Shirk. And we'll start with Michael.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You have 3 minutes.
Let me pull up my notes here. Yes, I'm Michael Maxenti, and I'm a 10-year resident of Irvine and a 50-year resident of South Orange County. I remember well the 1988 vote, and excuse me a second for my notes here. I think it's the wrong item.
I think you may want to speak on item 3.1.
Yeah, somehow.
But we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, so I'll go back and come back at 3.1.
All right, we'll welcome you then.
Derek Shirk.
Hello, it's me again. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to again raise the question about Ordinance 24-13, which defined the housing overlays, also known as the focus areas. Focus Area 2 has an inconsistency. The diagram that was in 2413, as Focus Area 2 was drawn, it included the Oak Creek driving range, but the language in the ordinance did not include the Oak Creek driving range. The ordinance said that Focus Area 2 was limited to Spectrum 7. The Oak Creek driving range has never been part of Spectrum 7. So this issue has been raised. Numerous emails have been sent to city officials. We were stonewalled on that. The issue was raised again in a legal letter from the Karstens law firm. And this technical update to these statutes would have been a great opportunity to correct that error, but once again, the city has chosen not to fix this inconsistency. And so, we're all wondering, why does the city not take action to correct this inconsistency? Clearly, it's because it creates confusion. one of the side effects we're seeing of this is the Irvine company on their website. They have a big picture of a huge apartment building at the corner of Irvine Center Drive and the Golf Club Drive. They're threatening to build this huge apartment building there if they're not allowed to destroy the golf course. So this inconsistency with this statute is allowing the Irvine company to threaten the population with this, completely crazy apartment development that they're threatening to build if they're not allowed to destroy the golf course. So I would ask that somebody would please correct this inconsistency so that we have a consistent statute here, and the people do not need to fear that an enormous apartment complex is going to be built on Irvine Center Drive. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this moment, I'd like to turn to our staff and city attorney if you wish to respond to the testimony that's just been given.
Mayor, we are aware of the inconsistencies that were mentioned. They occur in the general plan. The item that is before you right now is amendments to the zoning ordinance, not the general plan, and to the municipal code, also not the general plan. City staff is looking into the historical basis for those inconsistencies, and we are pursuing it. That's about as much as I can say at this point.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything further? Staff, anything further? No? All right. This is a public hearing. Hearing no further requests from the public to be heard. At this time, I'd like to move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
The motion to close the public hearing made by me was seconded by Councilmember Betty Martinez Franco. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treceder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Thank you. With the public hearing now closed, I'll move to introduce for first reading an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Irvine, California, amending Title VI, Division 12 of the Irvine Municipal Code to reflect existing development impact fee requirements. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? I have a question. In between first and second readings, if anything comes to light that should persuade Mr. Melching or our staff that we need to change this ordinance in any way, we can, of course, do so before second reading.
That's absolutely true, Mayor. We would reintroduce and then have another first reading if that were to be discovered. That's unlikely to happen in the context of development impact fees, which is this ordinance.
Yes, yeah. I understand. Thank you. With that, I think it's time to call the roll.
Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go. Yes. Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treceder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, that takes us to...
Mr. Mayor, I think there was another ordinance action item 2 that also needs to be approved for first reading.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the introduction of reading. That's my error. So let me, under action item 2, let me offer a motion introducing and reading on first reading and by title only. It's a mouthful. Here we go. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Irvine, California, approving zone change 009585 03-PZC to amend the Irvine zoning ordinance to reflect name changes to the Community Services Commission, Director of Community Services, and Department of Community Services in connection with the establishment of the City of Irvine Public Library System to amend chapters 1-2, 2-2, 2-5, 2-9, 2-19, 2-22, 2-23, 2-35, 2-37, 3-3, 3-8, 3-26, 3-37, 5-9, 9-4, 9-5, 9-34, 9-36, and 9-38, updating appeal procedures for director-level decisions, revising public notice requirements, adding a new land use category for alternative schools as a conditional use, clarifying height limitations for wireless facilities, amending standards in the residential and residential mixed-use overlay, amending the development impact fee and credit structure for the Greater Irvine Business Complex area, amending land use regulations for commercial recreation uses in the 8.1 Trails and Transit-Oriented Development Zoning District, amending land use regulations for administrative, business, and professional uses in the 5.1 IBC multi-use zoning district, and updating accessory dwelling unit provisions for consistency with state law. All right. As long as nobody asks me to repeat it, at this point, the motion would welcome a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Liu. Absent any discussion, would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Here, yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treceder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carries 7-0.
Excellent. That takes us to our principal item of council business tonight, item 3.1. Would the clerk please identify this item by title and subject?
Open space voter protection and Oak Creek Golf Course development ballot measures.
Thank you. I'm going to take the liberty of taking just a couple of minutes to put our meeting tonight in context. This is not the first meeting on this subject. In fact, we've had a council scoping session, scoping sessions to which the public was invited in the nature of kind of town hall meetings regarding this project. And of course, the matter was brought back to the council for further discussion and consideration. And we gave direction at our last council meeting. Well, this council has given a bit of direction that needs to be recalled as well. After those scoping sessions, basically the council on a unanimous vote sent the matter to staff to, in the normal course of events, process the application. It's not approval of the application, it's simply the first step in processing it. At the same time, the various public meetings we had engaged the public in this larger discussion about the history of open space and open space acquisition and preservation. Those meetings also were an opportunity for me, anyway, to make it clear, and I think my view is shared by other council members, that any proposal from the Irvine Company or anyone else that involves an effect on land preserved under 88.1, the ballot measure that was approved in 1988 to preserve open space, would go to a vote of the people. That's easier said than done. I think all of us kind of share the view that whatever changes we make that are implicated by an application for development, any changes in that open space preservation measure would, in my view, legally as well as ethically, because I was there and we all remember the promises that any change of any consequence would be of necessity placed before the voters. That was a promise made in 1988, and I think it's a promise that will be kept in connection with this entire matter. At our last meeting, we directed the city attorney to come back with ballot language. By that I mean the ballot question or questions that would be asked that would deal with this matter of development on 88-1 preserved open space on the one hand, and the receipt of additional compensating open space property on the other. Putting that into a ballot measure is not a simple thing to do. To ask the question in 75 words. Nevertheless, that was the direction that we gave, and it was at my urging that we did so, and that we would have a vote on this matter, a public vote on this matter, as soon as possible, which, as it turns out, would have been November 18th in a special meeting. We directed Mr. Melching to come back with his work product to this meeting so we can discuss all of these matters. I will hasten to add right here at the front end that notwithstanding my urging, I think having a snap election November 18th is not a good idea. It's not a good date. Having an election subsequent to that date in 2026, I think, is appropriate. I think it'll become evident tonight that it will be almost impossible for us to agree upon an appropriate ballot question without further work. Moreover, that wasn't intended as an applause line, but just an explanation of the context of all of this. Nevertheless, I remain committed, and I think my colleagues do as well, that this will be voted upon at the appropriate time. There are important reasons why November 18th doesn't work. First of all, we've been advised before, but want to underscore it. That special election would cost $2 million. It would come upon us very quickly. And there is this further complication now going on with the Texas redistricting, which will invite and probably produce retaliation in the form of a statewide ballot measure that will involve redistricting here in California. And according to what I heard the governor saying, that would be on November 4th. And it seems patently ridiculous, maybe that's too strong a word, but ridiculous to ask the people of the city of Irvine to be involved in that statewide measure, as we all will be, and then to vote again on a very, very important matter on November 18th in a special election. We can't at this point put the two together for November 4th. We've missed that window. I don't think it would be a good idea even if we could do that. So let me say just right up front, it's my intent and my expectation after hearing from Mr. Melching and us all paying attention to his report and then taking public comment. It's my intention to offer a motion then to continue this matter to sometime after January 1st, that we might then take another look at it with the benefit then of some analysis as to the application that's already gone on, some environmental reports and so forth. And that will give us plenty of time to schedule an appropriate election in 2026, whether that's a special election or a June election in connection with the statewide primary elections, or even as late as November of 2026. So I just wanted to state my perspective on this up front, and my hope, belief that as thoughtful people determined to do this in a way that is thoughtful, responsibly, that we will continue the matter, while of course we nevertheless will publicly be discussing it and so forth, but it would come back to the council then after the first of the year. With that, thank you for giving me the time to offer my perspective. And at this time, I'd like to turn to Mr. Melching and have him present his work product.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity. At the risk of repeating some of the things that you said, we are here tonight because on July 22nd, the City Council gave direction to prepare 4 ballot measures for further consideration by the City Council tonight. And I'm going to talk about each of those 4 ballot measures in turn. Fair warning, the discussion of the first will take the longest, but the presentation speeds up as it moves along. Just by way of background, some of this that you covered as well. The City Council considered, for an initial scoping purposes, the Oak Park project. That's a 3,100 unit residential development on property that includes the Oak Creek Golf Course and surrounding lands. As you noted, there were scoping sessions on May 27th and June 24th, and then in between there was a public comment session, which wasn't attended by the City Council, on June 14th. Through that process, the City Council unanimously authorized staff to continue with an analysis of that 3,100 unit project. There's technical analysis that needs to get done, environmental analysis. Of course, we have commissions and committees that need to weigh in on the project and offer their recommendations. Staff also, the professional planning staff, needs to offer their thoughts, and none of that's been done yet. That item, the consideration of the project, would return to the council in 12 to 18 months. Frankly, it's looking closer to 18 at this point. In a parallel path, there was a discussion about the impact of Resolution 88-1 on the ability to move forward with this project. And City Council members, including you, expressed a desire to see a ballot measure that would address the question of development on the Oak Creek Golf Course. And it would settle this question of voter approval once and for all. And to that end, as I noted, we had a follow-up meeting on July 22nd, and the outcome of that meeting was the request to prepare 4 ballot measures. Those 4 ballot measures, there are a lot of pages and a lot of maps and diagrams in those 4 ballot measures, but they contain 2 fundamental propositions. First, I call voter protection. Not everybody loves the expression voter protection, but for the sake of this discussion, I call it voter protection. And all that is the requirement that prior voter approval be obtained before specified parks and open spaces can be converted to residential, commercial, or industrial uses. That's voter protection, or just protection for short. The second is the Oak Creek exception, and that is to provide voter approval to change the permissible use at the Oak Creek Golf Course if the city is entitled to compensating open space. In the measure, it specifies 315 acres of compensating open space. Those 2 concepts are the root of all of these measures. They are simple and understandable. You can see them played out in the 4 measures here, in the ballot questions for the 4 measures. The voter protection Oak Creek exception measure, which we're going to talk about in a moment, contains concept 1, protection, and concept 2, exception. The voter protection only measure contains just concept 1, protection. In fact, you could, not perfectly, but near perfectly, take measure 1, delete everything that relates to the Oak Creek exception, and what you would have left is measure 2. Conversely, measure 3 contains no protection for open space, but it does allow for the Oak Creek exception. It's just the other side of the coin. Frankly, if you put 2 and 3 together, you get number 1. And number 4 was the measure that was requested by Mr. LeBlanc on behalf of Save Irvine Open Space. And that measure does something slightly different. It asks the question, do the voters of the city of Irvine want to reach into the general plan and change the general plan land use designation on the Oak Creek Golf Course from preservation to medium-high density residential? So items 1, 2, and 3 really have to do with whether there will be a voter requirement or not. None of them actually change a land use designation in the general plan. Item 4, requested by Mr. LeBlanc on behalf of Save Irvine Open Space, does that. It changes the general plan land use designation. So with that, I'm going to dive into measure 1. As I mentioned, there were 2 core concepts. The first was this voter protection concept. Measure 1 advances the voter protection concept by stating explicitly that all of the lands covered by Resolution 88-1, that is approximately 8,500 acres that are in Irvine, would be subject to the voter protection requirement. In addition, it adds all of the other lands in the city that carry a one of 4 general plan designations: preservation, recreation, agriculture, or water bodies. It adds those lands, approximately 1,485 acres of those lands. And there are some exclusions, which I'll get to in a moment. In addition, there are many parks in the city, I think about 50 parks in the city, that contain a general plan designation that is not an open space category. That is to say, it is not preservation or agriculture or water bodies or recreation. It's not one of those. There's 590 acres that fall in those categories. So altogether, what the measure would do is it would put this voter protection overlay on top of 10,575 acres, approximately. From a mapping standpoint, it looks like this. And I concede this map, it isn't super informative because it's just very difficult. You need to blow it up to see it. But on the left-hand side, you have Resolution 88-1 and the map that was contained in that. And to be fair, more than 1,000 acres that are shown on that map are today in Newport Beach. On the right-hand side, you have all of the land that would be covered under this measure. And as I noted, it's a little over 2,100 acres more than are shown on the left-hand side. This shows it in a more property-by-property way. This slide shows all of the properties that were not included in Resolution 88-1, but are in a open space category in our general plan. These are lands that are not today protected by 88-1. And you can see we've got 8 community parks, 1 neighborhood park, and 26 open space areas. That totals 1,485 acres. This slide shows the community parks that do not have general plan open space designations on them today. So there are 11 community parks that are not required under our general plan to be developed as open space. In addition to those community parks, there are 37 neighborhood parks and 2 additional open space areas. Those 11 community parks plus 37 neighborhood parks plus 2 additional open space areas total an additional 590 acres that are not today covered by 88-1. That was core concept 1. That is, what is the open space that would be protected by a measure? Core concept 2 is this idea that if the city receives 315 acres of compensating open space, the city council could, in its discretion, on a future day, move forward with a redesignation of the Oak Creek Golf Course. That concept is fairly simple and straightforward. The actual acreages of the 315 acres that have been proposed are shown on these 2 pictures. A lot of it is in Planning Area 1, which is in Orchard Hills, and the balance of it is in Planning Area 6, which is Portola Springs. Of that acreage, approximately 65, most of it is agricultural lands, and approximately 65 acres are fuel modification. Okay. So now I want to get into the ballot measure itself. And what I want to express at the beginning is that the ballot measure is an exercise in saying the same thing many different ways. It is repetitive. So when you look at the ballot question, which as you pointed out in your comments, is allowed to be 75 words long. Ours is 56. The ballot question is a short summary of the measure in the form of a question. It's the shortest summary that somebody can find. The measure title, as it turns out, also is only 56 words long. It is also a short summary of the measure in the form of a statement. And I'll show you the ballot question, the proposed ballot question, and the ballot title in a moment. We'll go through that, each of these things, one by one in a moment. The whereas clauses also explain the fundamental 2 concepts, protection of the open space, exception for Oak Creek, except it does it in a historical context. It talks about Irvine's historical commitment. It talks about the quality of our parks and open spaces. And as it goes through that, it explains what this measure would do in that context. It's a little bit longer than the 56 words in the ballot question or the measure title, but it's still probably only 400 or 500 words. The purpose and intent section is actually a little bit shorter, and it does the same thing. It talks about the 2 fundamental pieces, protection and exception, but it does it in the context of the policy values that are advanced. And then there are the actual general plan modifications. And there's no two ways about it. If you take the City of Irvine's general plan and you try and retrofit these concepts into the general plan, you need to touch multiple pieces of the general plan to explain how these protection and exception concepts are advanced. They don't get more complicated, but they do get more dispersed. Those are the 5 ways that you'll find these explanations in the measure and in the ballot question. There's 2 more to come. There's a city attorney impartial analysis that would get ordered by the resolutions that are before the city council tonight, whether they were adopted tonight or sometime next year. And then, of course, there'll be ballot arguments, which won't necessarily focus on the protection and exception issues so much as argue about whether those measures are wise or not wise. But there are 7 opportunities to understand the way this measure works, these measures work. So walking through them, hopefully a little bit quickly. The ballot question, because the elections code says so, has to start with the words shall the measure, and it has to end with the words be adopted and a question mark. That makes the formation of the question a little bit clunky, I admit that. But you'll see there, I put in orange, highlighting concept 1 requires the approval of the voters before parks and open spaces can be converted, and concept 2 allows for the Oak Creek exception. That's in the ballot question. Here it is in the measure title, requires a vote of the people before specified parks and open spaces can be developed for other uses. And then number 2, the Oak Creek exception. Here it is in the whereas clauses, and I didn't put the whereas clauses in word for word, but you can see the historical context. We talk about the role of the general plan, the commitment to open space, the role of Initiative Resolution 88-1. And as you work through, you find yourself getting a narrative description of the voter approval requirement and that the measure authorizes the conversion of Oak Creek in the future if the city receives 315 acres of compensating open space. Same 2 concepts. Then you get to the purpose and intent section. And there are a lot of words on this. I won't go through them all. I can just say that where I've put the orange the orange brackets, you can see that the protection concept is enumerated and the exception concept is enumerated. It appears in both places. And then it ends, of course, with a policy statement. Important decisions about whether open space should be lost to other forms of development should rest with Irvine residents. I'm going to talk next about the actual modifications to the general plan made by the measure. But before I do that, I want to emphasize something we already talked about. That map on the left-hand side, that's the general plan land use map. It shows the general plan land use categories for every piece of property in the city and in its sphere of influence. This measure does not make a single change to that map. It doesn't change it. Today, the Oak Creek Golf Course is designated preservation. Were the measure to pass, it would still be designated preservation. What it does is it adds 2 maps to the general plan. And those maps create those voter approval requirements on that additional acreage, 1,485 that are zoned for open space plus 590 that are existing parks and open spaces. It also creates the exception to the voter approval requirement for the Oak Creek Golf Course if the 315 acres of compensating open space are received. What that means is the decision whether or not to change the general plan designation for the Oak Creek Golf Course, if this measure passed, would rest with the City Council after the technical analyses, the environmental analyses, and the committee and commission recommendations were received. That's the existing general plan. These are the changes. What I'm going to walk through are changes to maps, explanations of maps, and policies in the general plan. The map on the right-hand side is proposed figure 1A. What it does is it covers all of the 88-1 lands plus that 1,485 additional acres of open space designated lands in the general plan. The text on the left-hand side would immediately precede that map in the general plan, and it would explain that 1A depicts the properties that are subjected to the voter-protected open space designated lands overlay. It just explains what the map does. And then it advises the reader that the exceptions, including the Oak Creek exception to the overlay, can be found in policies G and H of the land use element. It's just a roadmap to where to go. This does the same thing for the 590 acres of existing parks that don't have general plan designations for open space categories. It shows those parks that I described before, and it explains that they're subject to a voter approval requirement, and it explains where to find the exceptions, just the same as for the other map. This is a list of the properties that are not included on those two maps, but are currently park and open space areas. The San Joaquin Marsh is not included because that is owned by the Irvine Ranch Water District. We don't have land use authority over that piece of property today. Mason Regional Park, County of Orange, same explanation. There's property north of Irvine Boulevard next to Portola Springs Neighborhood 3. It's owned by the University of California Regents, and for the same reason, it's not included in the overlay. There's a portion of what we call Annexation Area R. This is north of Portola Parkway in Portola Springs. It is an area, it's just a few acres, it's already disturbed area, and the city has been long working on potentially siting a joint police fire training center on that piece of property. So it's been excluded. A portion of Heritage Park has been excluded. That's because the city is currently in discussions, and I think it's coming to the city council in the next 2 or 3 meetings. The city's currently in discussions with Hogue for the siting of a wellness building or facility on a portion of Heritage Park. And we didn't want to have a future fight about whether that is or isn't open space. The Gateway Residential parcel, which the council has broad experience with, is zoned for recreation in the city's general plan. It's not covered by 88.1, but it's zoned for recreation in the city's general plan. The city has been working on entitlement of that land for residential development, and frankly, the revenues from the entitlement of that land help repay the bonds on the All-American Asphalt purchase. So putting that in an open space overlay would have very drastic financial consequences for the city. And last, the Great Park. Not the wildlife corridor. The wildlife corridor is included in the overlay, but the balance of the Great Park is not. And that's because the Great Park is a study in innovation in what park spaces can be. You've got amphitheater, you've got water park, you've got museums, cultural terrace buildings, and who knows what the future brings. It's a different kind of space, and putting it in the overlay would create some significant limitations on the creativity there. I want to say that these are the exceptions that we were able to identify. Every city department weighed in on this. The city manager's office, of course, the public works department talked about it. Of course, community services, because they're in charge of the parks, community development, administrative services we even spoke to. We spoke to every department to try and make sure that we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot one way or another by putting this overlay in place. I can't say that there won't be another great idea that comes up in the weeks or months or years ahead where we wish that we hadn't included a piece of property within the modified overlay. I cannot say that. I can't even say with perfect certainty that there isn't an idea out there today. We did the best we could. We worked very hard to speak with everybody that we thought would know about an unintended consequence of this. And that's what this represents, this list represents. I was talking about the maps and the text explaining the maps. The last slide was about the exclusions from the maps, but now we're back sort of on track talking about the policies. There are several policies that the measure adds to the general plan land use element. And those policies basically repeat those same two concepts we've been talking about, protection and exception. both in the context of the 1,485 acres, which is the acres that are zoned for open space, or general plan for open space, and in the context of the 590 acres, which are the acres that are actually open space. Then there are, I talked about sort of exclusions from the map, which is one type of exception. We also included a policy in the general plan that created what I would call categorical exclusions from the open space overlay. They aren't specific to a piece of property. They're more forward-looking in order to make sure that the city has some flexibility to carry out some essential functions as it moves forward. So, for example, if a new road needed to travel through a piece of open space, or a wireless tower needed to go up on a piece of agricultural land, or other utilities needed to traverse lands, we wanted to make sure that that was still possible without having to go back to a vote of the people. Secondly, currently permitted uses, we just wanted to make sure that we weren't actually disallowing a use that exists on a piece of property today. Third, community facilities, libraries, emergency services facilities, and what I called supporting ancillary and accessory uses. The idea here is that if the city, for example, wanted to put a cafe in a park in order to serve the park patrons, we didn't want to have a betrayal of the trust of the voters or a misunderstanding about whether that would be allowable in the context of this measure. So we tried to create some flexibility there. And last, financing. The city has really only once, and that was with the All-American Asphalt financing, the city has pledged property it owns as security for bond issuances. And we wanted to make sure that nobody believed that the city council couldn't, in its discretion in the future, pledge park or open spaces to secure bonds. Now, to be sure, if you put a voter protection overlay on top of these properties, you will push down the value of those properties as security. But even at that diminished value, the idea that the city could still use it for financing purposes, if it chose to, so long as the use couldn't change, we wanted to make sure that that opportunity was preserved. I didn't put it on that slide, it was sort of inherent in one of the items. We wanted to make sure, and we did make sure from the language of the measure, which forbids conversions of open spaces to commercial, residential, or industrial uses. We wanted to make sure that other types of conversions wouldn't necessarily be disallowed. And what comes most readily to mind for me is the city owns or will own some agricultural orchards. And there could come a point in time in the future where that doesn't make any financial sense for the city to run. And if that happens, a conversion of those lands to straight open space or to park space, we didn't want to have that be subject to a voter approval requirement. That was a decision that was embedded in this. We spent a lot of time talking about the protection elements. And some of the exceptions, there is obviously a policy in the general plan that speaks directly to the Oak Creek exception. And it says the city council may but is not required to move the Oak Creek golf course, which is identified on figure 1A, which I showed you a few slides ago, from the voter protected open space designated lands overlay and change the general plan land use designation for the Oak Creek golf course without the further approval of the voters if the city becomes entitled to receive into public ownership at least 315 acres of compensating open space lands. So that is the Oak Creek exception living in the land use element of the general plan. I want to say that the measure actually impacts two elements of the city's general plan. So far, we've only been talking about the land use element. It also impacts the conservation and open space element. The good news is that the changes are almost identical. The maps are the same. The two added maps, figures 1A and 1B that were added to the land use element are also added to the conservation and open space element. And the policy changes are all the same too, including the exceptions for Oak Creek and the general categorical exceptions that I mentioned. The only additional policy is this voter-protected open space, policy F, language that I have on the screen, and it doesn't say anything new. It just talks about the protection of open space as shown in figures 1A and 1B, those two new maps. It turns out also that the conservation and open space element is the only place in today's general plan where Initiative Resolution 88-1 is discussed. And so this additional paragraph was proposed to be added after the discussion of Initiative Resolution 88-1. This isn't a map, it's not an explanation of a map, it's not a policy, it's just narrative text in the conservation and open space element. And it, not unsurprisingly, says the same two things that almost every other addition to the general plan says, that there's going to be voter protection and that there's going to be an exception for Oak Creek. We're at the end, almost, of the first measure. The procedural, there are a number of procedural items, and I just wanted to point them out. First, the city, if it's adopted, the city council's directed to prepare conforming amendments to the zoning code so that everything aligns, what they call vertically, the general plan and the zoning will all align. Second, there's a provision that says if some portion of this measure is determined to be illegal or unenforceable, the rest of it is supposed to be enforced. Third, it says explicitly that the measure cannot be amended without a further vote of the people. And so that's obviously an important facet of a measure that we've discussed a few times over the last couple of months. And last, there's a provision relating to conflicting measures. I want to say this provision is only relevant if the city council were to decide to put two measures on the ballot, or if this happens sometime next year, if there was a voter-initiated measure that ended up on the same ballot. All this says is that if two measures pass, they both get more than 50% of the vote, and this measure gets more votes than the other measure, then this one controls. That's all that says.
Oh my goodness. Double talk.
Measure two, as I noted, measure two.
Sorry, point of order, Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, I think we've heard enough. I appreciate that. The mayor's made, Mayor, you've made a pre-motion that I'll make myself to continue this until next year. I think the entire city council of Irvine has heard it. I appreciate this, but if we're going to run this whole thing in 2026, we can't exercise this whole room. It's just too much. I mean, unless you want to spend another 2 minutes or something. I just can't hear this again. So we're gonna have to truncate this. I can't expend my energy on this. You're going to do the same thing for 3 more things. Mayor, you've proposed a motion to table this until 2026. I 1,000% agree with you that the residents of Irvine can't receive 2 paper ballots, one for this Newsom, whatever the heck this retaliation thing is, because of districting and stuff. I don't even understand. I'm too busy with Irvine to even read the news. And then the second thing, which would be this protection measure or whatever it is. So it's my opinion that we just kind of keep moving here. If we want to have the 41 people that have signed up to speak come speak, that's great. We've already heard everything you're going to say. You're going to come back in 2026 and say it, but I've had it. Have you had it? So, Mayor, why don't you make the motion? I'll second it, and let's just keep going. I'm done. Okay. I mean, the rest of you guys may want to hear it, but I don't want to hear it anymore.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you, Councilmember Carroll. I'm not going to make the motion now.
Okay, Mayor. I have the floor, so I'll make it.
Hold on. If you want to make a motion to table this thing right now, by the way, a motion to table is not debatable, is that correct?
Correct.
So if you want to make a motion to table right now, I'm not for that. I think we can all actually learn a little bit here by being together and talking this through. It's only 7:15, for heaven's sakes. But
right, so we should take it till 2 a.m. I agree.
No, I didn't say that.
Mayor, I'm going to make the motion right now.
Motion.
Yeah, and I'll make any motion I want with all due respect to you. I make the motion that you were going to make. I move that we move this to next year at an indeterminate time, because the reason being that we don't have the ability to possibly schedule a voter election in the middle of the possibility of what's happening on the state measure, which I think makes a lot of sense. If someone would second that, that'd be great.
I'm seconding it.
Great. So maybe we can have a discussion on the motion.
Now,
Mayor,
yes. Hold on.
Mayor, we may not have.
Mr. Melching, go ahead.
We may not have a discussion on the motion. It is not debatable.
A motion to continue.
I thought
He
it was
made
a motion.
motion to
I'm sorry,
continue.
I misheard him. I
He
apologize.
made a motion to continue.
Jeff, do you want me to repeat the motion, Mayor?
Let me preside over the meeting, would you?
That's fine, but I'm not going to.
You know, let me be the traffic cop for a few minutes here, okay? Well, it's been an hour, but it's an hour well spent. For I think everybody here. Well, we will hear what they think about what Mr. Melching has said. So my point is, let's continue with the meeting. We want to hear from residents. I don't think their comments, criticisms, and so forth are something we ought to just bypass now. Let's go on with the meeting. A motion to continue, which I'll offer, or I guess it could be later on, a motion to table to a time certain would be in order then, but I will be voting no on your motion to continue at this moment. Any, Councilmember Liu?
Thank you. Well, I just have a different perspective, but I generally agree that Mayor was saying that this is too important for us to just kind of have it discussed tonight and decide on. There's 4 measures in front of us, and thank you, Mr. Melching. That was a very detailed, thank you for doing all this work, and it's a very detailed explanation, and what he was saying was that items 2 and 3 are basically a combination of 1. So if I may suggest, just to have a compromise, since Mayor thinks that we should delay this until next year, and Councilmember Carroll put forth that same motion, essentially getting to the same conclusion. If we want to finish this explanation, can we skip the part about 2 and 3 because it's already been explained essentially together in combination as item number 1 and skip straight to number 4, and then we're voting on the motion to table this item.
I agree with that. I think Mr. Melching was getting close to the end anyway, because your earlier explanation was that 2 of the others are a combination and so forth. So if you could conclude your presentation, would you wish to withdraw your motion to continue, or you want to vote on it?
No, actually, I'd just like to hear what Vice Mayor Mai has to say.
Thank you, everyone here. I think the biggest compromise here is, sorry, Jeff, we don't want to hear you anymore. But let's just get things going. We want to hear from the public. I think that's the main thing that is important. We want to hear from the public. Jeff, we have everything in writing from you already. I think we understand it. Hope you don't take offense to that.
Well, a motion to continue, you won't hear from the public. So, should we take a vote on the motion to continue? Because a yes vote means the meeting's going to basically be over, and we won't be hearing from the public. All right. Anybody wish to be here? Mr. Carroll?
Yeah, so I'm okay if we could wrap this up on the staff presentation, because we're presenting on something that you will probably be repeating verbatim in 2026, and that is a superfluous waste of time, in my opinion, as 1/7 of this body. If there are members of the public that want to speak, if you want to repeat what you're going to say now and then repeat it again 26, I mean, I heard it earlier. I'm happy to hear it again because you came here, but you may want to just call it a day, because this is all going to come back in 2026 anyway. So. Yeah, right. This isn't a dialogue. So I'm fine with it. I'd like to hear what Councilmember Martinez Franco has to say too, and the rest of this body. But I'm happy to keep moving and hear the speakers and run this track. That's fine. I just didn't want to hear it a second time from the staff, because we're going to hear this all again.
So, without wishing to be heavy-handed about it, are you withdrawing your motion, or
Well, Mayor, again, I just want to hear, the rest of the council wants to be heard, so I'd like to hear that.
On your
And
motion.
All right. I'm amenable to it.
All right.
Sure.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yeah, the only thing, I don't know exactly what is going on here, but the only thing that I will request, if we continue this and we stop your presentation, which, by the way, thank you so much for putting all this together, that will be available for our residents to read, because it's not fair that we know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm not sure if the entire city knows. So it would be kind of great that still people study these and they can make their own homework on their own, if that's the case. That's my only suggestion.
All right. Councilmember Treseder.
Thank you. It seems like the public generally wants us to not continue this, and so I will oppose continuing it. Also, I don't mind hearing Mr. Melching speak. This is my job. I'm paid to be here. It is early in the evening. I don't have anywhere else to be. Happy to listen to this. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Treseder. Councilmember Carroll.
Yeah, I mean, I'll withdraw the motion. Let's keep going.
Councilmember Carroll withdraws the motion. Please take no more than the next few minutes to wrap it up. I think you were actually in the home stretch as I was listening to you. Go ahead.
We're pretty close, Mayor. So Measure 2, as I mentioned, this is the ballot question for Measure 2. You should recognize it. It's the first half of the ballot question for Measure 1. Right. Here you can see that Measure 1 did A and B. Measure 2 just does A.
Yeah.
Here,
it's not showing up on the monitor, so are people at home seeing it or not?
They should be, but there we go.
All right.
Thank you.
So just by way of summary, and you've heard it all, Measure 2 requires vote of the people before specified open spaces can be converted. There is no exception for Oak Creek in Measure 2. The procedural provisions are all the same as Measure 1, except the conflicting measures provision. That one says that if two measures go together on a ballot, they get harmonized to the extent possible. And that's because Measures 2 and 3 could end up on the same ballot, and they could both be enforced. You wouldn't want one to be interpreted to trump the other.
That's a requirement of state law, is it not?
It is, unless you say otherwise.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Measure 3 is the inverse of Measure 2. You'll see the ballot question is just the second half of the ballot question for Measure 1. You'll see that Measure 1 did A and B, and Measure 3 does just B, but not A. That means that there is no update to protected open space. It means that there is clear authorization by the City Council given to the City Council to proceed with a general plan amendment on the Oak Creek Golf Course if it determines to do so in its discretion after the technical studies are completed. And the procedural provisions, as I noted, are identical to Measure 2. That brings us to Measure 4. Measure 4, this is the ballot question. And all it says is that the general plan designation for Oak Creek Golf Course would get changed from preservation to medium-high density residential. This is what it looks like from a mapping standpoint. It's very difficult to tell. The maps are giant, or the maps have a ton of detail, and so you have to blow them up just to see what's happening. That MHR on the general plan, that's Oak Creek Golf Course. It used to be a P for preservation. It would become MHR. And the 2.4, that's Oak Creek Golf Course. That would apply to Oak Creek Golf Course as well. 2.4 in our zoning code is medium-high density residential. It's a direct change. It does not require 315 acres of compensating open space be provided to the city. It was reviewed by Save Irvine Open Space and Mr. LeBlanc. Mr. LeBlanc and I had many good conversations with each other about this item. He requested, on behalf of Save Irvine Open Space, a number of changes to the whereas clauses. He also noted a typographical error in one of the tables. And he requested deletion of, it says severability provision, but it's actually the conflicting measures provision in that measure, which again, as you noted, would just mean that if there were two measures on the ballot, they would be harmonized with each other. As we've just talked about numerous times, this measure would require prior environmental analysis under CEQA before it could go to the voters, which would take 12 to 18 months. That's why there are no resolutions to move forward with this measure in your packet. Save Irvine Open Space has also requested a fifth measure, which isn't in your packet, obviously, and what it would do fundamentally would be to pose a different question to the voters, which is, shall the preservation designation on the Oak Creek Golf Course be maintained? So in that instance, the voters would vote yes for preservation, whereas in the measure that they requested at the last city council meeting, they would vote yes for a conversion to medium-high density residential. So it flips the yeses and the nos. This is the final slide. These are your decision points tonight, or at least I thought they were your decision points before all of the talk about continuance. One, actually, is still true. Decide whether to proceed with one or more of these measures. Two is to decide whether to do that on November 18th. It sounds like you may be leaning toward not doing it on the 18th. Three is to decide if you like the ballot questions as they've been prepared, because ultimately that's a city council decision, what those ballot questions are. I make a suggestion, but you make a decision. Four is, if you move forward or when you move forward, you should decide whether any council member wants to submit arguments for or against the measure. You have the top priority and you can pick and exercise your right. 5 council members can write on one side of a measure. So we have a 7-person council, so you'd have to decide which ones, if anybody wants to participate. And then the bottom table there demonstrates to you which attachments, which resolutions would get adopted depending on which course of action you take. That is the conclusion of the presentation.
Excellent. I do want to thank you. We gave you directives which involved a monumental amount of work, and you're frank to say that you think you've got it right in terms of avoiding unintended consequences depending on what's adopted and what's not and so forth. And I've been in your position. I used to work doing this kind of work for the state, and I know it's not easy. I think what I'd like to do now is, if council members have just a momentary question that they want to ask you, then we want to turn to the public. I think any questions might be in order that if any council members think they have an urgent question of Mr. Melching. All right, be on standby. We'll turn now to public comment. How many commenters do we have?
We have 46 requests to speak.
46. I'm going to suggest, if we take no more, that those who are speaking limit their remarks to 2 minutes. If a couple of you want to band together and say, instead of 2 of you doing 2 minutes, one will do 3 minutes. I want to be flexible in this. I want people to have a chance to be heard, and at the same time, I want to make sure that Councilmember Carroll, who gets up very, very early in the morning, can get home at a reasonable hour, okay? With that, I'd like to first actually call on Mr. Mike LeBlanc to come forward. He spoke to us a little earlier, and I think putting his remarks at the front end here will be fine, and we'll just give you whatever little time you need to make your presentation. All right?
Yes, I'll try and keep it brief. I think I can do this in 3 minutes. I rehearsed it with my wife. I think I can do it. So just bear with me.
Well, that's all right.
So,
if you take 4, we won't.
Okay, I appreciate that.
We won't slap your hand.
So let's be clear. This Center City open space right now is the only space that's being threatened. it is being sacrificed as part of your Faustinian bargain when the Irvine Company and you adopted the May MOU. Both parties have overreached, causing harm to master plan and causing significant civil discord. First, you attempted to ignore the citizen mandate in 88-1 to implement an open space system based on sound planning principles and an equitable allocation of open space, and the requirement to return to the voters if you sought change. Now you add insult to injury by looking at deceptive ways to check the box and falsely claim you are asking the electorate to decide what they desire. Measure 1 is a charade, using a scare tactic and the false pretense to protect open space areas that need no protection. Measures 1 and 3 suggest that somehow 315 acres of open space far from the Jeffrey Trail, far from the center of town, is adequate compensation for the loss of 333 acres of presently zoned preservation and recreation land in Oak Creek. You're now no longer going to spend money perhaps on a special election, but I do suggest one thing, as Melching reminded me. You really need to rethink about the wisdom of taking over the management of these avocado orchards. I'm telling you, the Irvine Company is offloading a burden. It's going to be more of a liability to you than you would realize. Slide 2 is up. So slide 2, we're showing, this shows a further example of your deception to fool the voters, the respective sections on conflicting measures from measures 2 and 3. Measure 2 seeks to protect all open space, including Oak Creek, raising hope that among some voters only to be foiled by a vote on Measure 3 placed on the same ballot. The last line includes the phrase, both measures shall be given full force and effect, regardless of which measure receives the greatest number of affirmative votes. Most readers of that language would seemingly think that a conflict in the measures had not been resolved, and their preferred measure would prevail. But the intent is to make sure that a greater amount of voter support for Measure 2 can be upset by a much smaller voter support for Measure 3. Next slide. The city attorney will ask you, as he was going to support these unlawful sequel determination, and you cannot in good conscience agree that Measures 1 and 3 will not have the effect of causing a change in the physical environment that is reasonably foreseeable. 1 and 3 cannot move forward without an environmental impact report. And I want to get to a salient point here. You should be tabling the consideration of Measures 1 and 3. You need to require no less than a full EIR in the company's application. You need to make sure the EIR is not a sweetheart EIR. It needs to be done by independent consultants and not the company's pick of consultants. Once that EIR is complete, then we want to put Measure 4, as we drafted, on the ballot as a standalone measure and only consider the company's applications after the electorate has had its say. The only other way, and this is an issue that you've acknowledged, is managing the logistics of an EIR and when that's complete and the timing. If you want an earlier read by the electorate of a measure that requires no CEQA clearance, then put Measure 5 on the ballot, either at a new special election date or at the next general election date in June of 2026. Thank you. That concludes our comments.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll hear the comments from the rest of the people who have submitted their names. And we're taking no additional ones.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could call forward the following individuals: Ethan Chang, Yuanzi Angel, Xinyu Zhang, Susan Sayer, Bobby Rush, Andrew Craig, Rodney Boomerton, Christina Shea, Paula Miller, and Rolf Parks. And we'll start with Ethan. Ethan Chang.
Good evening, council members and residents. My name is Ethan Chang, and I am from a learning center, and I am from a student club called Project Next Foundation. And we are here to advocate for the citizens of Irvine against the redevelopment of Oak Creek Golf Course into a large housing development. To be clear, this isn't about slowing down growth, but rather ensuring that the redevelopment is responsible. A major thing we have to consider about is the traffic. There's already an abundant amount of complaints on important roads such as Newport, Chapman, and Jamboree being clogged up with cars. Adding over 3,000 new homes will only increase the amount of car trips and make traffic even worse. We can all agree that new developments without adequate road improvements will cause intersections to be dangerous and commutes being longer. Imagine being a student in the future and you have to drive 30 minutes just to go to school that is 5 miles away. And that proves that there are no credible plans that can prevent the negative effects of the impact. Research has shown that existing infrastructure cannot support a new school, especially because that a new school can cause even longer commutes. Online posts have shown that most complaints come from traffic and on important roads. It was also brought up when we were gathering research. On the interest of the park, we would like to decline all four ballots, and we would like to propose a 5th ballot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yuanzi.
Thank you. Next speaker, welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Yuan, representing Project Next Foundation here to advocate in regards to the Oak Creek Golf Course. I live near the Oak Creek Golf Course, and remaking it into houses will impact my life in many negative ways. The construction will cause noises and will give everyone living near the area many problems, such as worse ears and disturbance. As an industrial city, the green space that Irvine currently has are very important to protect. Having access to natural spaces bring many benefits to the families living nearby. While Irvine currently has just over 5,000 acres of reserved open space, a lot of it is forced in place like Great Park, rather than smaller community space like the Oak Creek Golf Course. The additional 3,000 houses will also slow down the traffic by the significant amounts, causing cities include me to replan their schedule. All these problems can make life harder and less peaceful for all the neighborhood. Last, please vote against the 4 giving battles to save the Oak Creek Golf Course. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Xinyu Zhang.
welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Qingyu Zhang, and I'm going to talk about the promise to the city. Back in 1988, people in Irvine voted for the permanent open space protection. This means some lands, like Oak Creek, would stay green and open forever. It was not just a rule, it was a promise between the city and the people. Many families moved here because they believed believed this open space would always be here for them and their kids. The City Council has duty to represent the interests of their constituents, and this current plan will erode trust. If we change the plan now, it feels like breaking that promise. And if we can take away one open place, what will stop the city from taking more in the future? Soon we will lose the parks, the trails, and the animals that make Irvine special. We're not only talking about a golf course here, we're talking about keeping our promise and respecting what people chose back then. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome.
Susan Sayer.
Hi. Yes, my name is Susan Sayer, and I've lived in Irvine since 1981. I approve of propositions number 2 and 3, with proposition number 2 restricting the voters to approving only the development of the Oak Creek Golf Course, and proposition number 3 giving voters the right to approve proposed open space locations. I disapprove of proposition 1, which has conditions which could end up requiring the voters potentially to choose between the development of the golf course and preserving Irvine open space. I object to proposition number 4, giving the voters the right to change the development land use of property, because I think that it impacts development in ways that are too technical and complex for voters to understand and vote for. The development planning process must include approval by city staff, city manager, the city council, and city commissions. I also, there was no discussion in the attached documents of the proposed number 5. So I ask you to please give Irvine voters the opportunity to protect Irvine's open space, for which Irvine is famous, from the state-mandated RENA affordable housing mandates. We can develop affordable housing without destroying our open space. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby Rush.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Bobby Rush. I started working in Irvine in 1980, and at that point I thought, I want to live here. And that's all I could think about as a high school teacher as I was driving down Culver to get to the 405 back to Huntington Beach. It took many years to get here. I don't want to leave, but I don't want this to turn into another Los Angeles. We voted for Resolution 88, excuse me. We voted for each of you. I'm asking you again this time, like I did the last time I spoke, to start listening to your heart and honoring with integrity and decency and honesty, to honor the proposition that was already voted upon. Keep our city safe. I want to live where it's safe. I want to honor our police department, which I thoroughly respect. I want them to be safe as they go out to protect each and every one of us. And I ask you again, listen to your heart, honor what's already been voted for. Don't waste any more money having to vote for again what we've already agreed upon. Listen to your hearts. Keep the city safe. Protect our police officers. Protect where you live, where your mother lives, where your mother-in-law lives, where your family lives. Protect it. Listen to your heart. Show integrity. We voted for you to vote for us, and now I'm asking you to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christina Shea.
Welcome.
Well, it's so nice to see you all again. I feel like I'm becoming a regular member here. I do want to say I appreciate the fact that spending $2 million at Thanksgiving when you're going to get out such a low voter turnout, the whole concept was really ridiculous. I didn't come here tonight to support any ballot measure because I'm opposed to this whole process right now. And by the way, whoever sent out those hit pieces on me, probably spent about $100,000, but now they're going to have to wait another year and a half to attack me again. So it was a waste of their money, if I can mention that. But in my perspective, the most important thing is that the Irvine company process needs to stop. And the reason I'm saying that is they're in breach of contract. Our city attorney very well knows that they're in breach of contract. They have to sign an easement. They legally are bound to do it because they were paid for this property. They were paid for that open space of 330 acres when they went through their development process. They're in breach of contract. We have an attorney, which we're getting ready to file a lawsuit. So that's what has to happen, and then all of this goes off the table. They need to comply with law, and they're not doing it, and I'm asking this council to require the Irvine company to sign this contract, to record it, this easement. It's worth $200 to $400 million to our residents. That's their property. It's not the Irvine company's property anymore, and we honestly don't have a right to allow them to come in and even suggest they can develop that property. So, sorry, I got really sick last week. I'm losing my voice again, but I appreciate that at least we're moving away from this, and I hope that you will demand the Irvine company follow the law. The rest of us have to follow the law. Why shouldn't they?
Paula Miller.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Paula Miller, President of the Ranch Homeowners Association, representing 732 families that live there. Again, tonight, all of us are standing before you as citizens of Irvine. We have elected and trusted you. We elected you to listen to us, to listen to our desires and our concerns. We have been doing that. We have come before you in council meetings, scoping sessions, and back again in council meetings, and we don't feel like you're listening to us. We voted to preserve the open space in 1988, and that included Oak Creek. And right now, there is no reason for this to go to the ballot. We already did it in 88 and 91, and now this whole thing is coming up again. And now we brought up a whole nother side of this. Now I see that there's two parts to this. It should be Oak Creek. We're focusing on that, Oak Creek. We need to preserve that area in the center part of Irvine. We lose that, and the center part, you can't redo it. Once it's gone, it's gone. Now we're seeing like, oh, now our community parks we can build, multi level housing in there. We'll take where we live, the Ranch Park, or all these community parks. Now you're talking about, oh, it could be open there. Now, to me, that's a whole nother ballot issue. But we've already done. Let's just take care of Oak Creek. That was a promise. That was what we decided back in 88. So right now, we really need to rescind the MOU and stop the development at Oak Creek, stop the Irvine company, correct the easement issue, which it seems like it's been ignored for decades, honor and comply with Resolution 88. If you allow Oak Creek Preservation Area to be destroyed, it's a mistake that can never be undone.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Is this what you want your legacy to be as you serve the citizens of Irvine? Please
Thank you.
consider.
Rolf Parks, and if I could also call forward Carol McDougall, Carol Schwartz, Mike Nystrom, Greg Costigan, Clark Colby, Laura Sinanian, Geraldine Larson, Fred Klein, and John L. Britton.
Welcome, sir.
All right, ready. Okay. I am Rolf Parks. I'm the president of the Orange Tree Master Homeowners Association, representing 802 residents' homes in that vicinity of the village. I follow Paula Miller here, who's the president of the ranch as well. So a lot of us homeowners and presidents and representatives have a lot to say about the fact that having a 3,100 home project built across the street from where we live congests the area with the amount of people just to be able to move around, getting traffic in and out. That's our big concern. I guess I'm going to follow up on what they're having to say about the easement. What happened to the easement here? It's worth about $250 million maybe to the city and to the citizens. And it's something that ought to be looked at before we do any kind of vote. I'm not sure why the city attorney is spending a lot of time on putting ballot measures together when he should be going after the Irvine company to get that easement. You know, I think that would be money better spent. And I think that what the others are saying is, you know, we're talking about several ballots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why not have no ballots? Because 88-1 is law. It exists. You don't have to have a ballot at all. I mean, you're making something happen that doesn't have to happen for $2 million. I don't think so. I think that a majority of the people, you know, want to keep that as open space. Why spend the $2 million? Okay. And I'm glad to see that you're taking Mr. Karsten, Attorney Karsten's advice by looking into CEQA, because that is something you were going to have to do based on the citizens of Sierra Madre versus the city of Sierra Madre. And that's kind of what's going on here, almost identical issues that the citizens had to come in and say, hey, you know, this is supposed to be preserved space. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol McDougall.
Welcome. Hi, good evening. I'm Carol McDougall, and I've been a 30-year resident of Irvine. And I'd like to thank you for your time and attention to this matter. I'd like to direct my comments to Councilmember Tresader. You've been a clear-headed advocate for transparency and stewardship, from your award-winning ecological research at UCI to guiding Irvine's climate action plan and open government reforms. At the July 22nd meeting, you warned that even the title, Open Space Preservation Ballot Measure, could mislead voters into thinking that Oak Creek is protected. That is exactly why clarity matters. Did you ask your 17 to 18-year-old students if they understood ballot measures 2 and 3? One seems to protect Oak Creek and the other one trades it away. If they can't see that, the ballot fails the honesty test. Now, survey results show that the majority of Irvine voters do not want this development, and we oppose it adamantly. So tonight I'm going to ask you 3 things. No vote on any confusing ballot measures, and that basically includes everything I've looked at tonight. I would ask you to enforce the Oak Creek easement now. Irvine Company received their consideration, they got the shopping center, they got the development. Now it's time to please direct them to produce the easement and have it recorded. This is put to bed. And finally, if we do go down this slippery slope of having a ballot measure, I would implore you to bring back ballot measure 5, plainly worded for public review. Let's give the voters and your students the clear, honest choice we deserve. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Carol Schwartz.
Welcome.
Good evening. I think you all know me by now. My name is Carol Schwartz. First, I believe that all of us in this room on either side of the argument are in favor of affordable housing. The City of Irvine's Inclusionary Housing Ordinance of 2003 clearly states that 15% of all housing constructed must be affordable. Chapters 2 and 3 provide developers with an in lieu of option where they can choose to pay $17,000 per unit or provide land donations. The city is to collect these fees and direct them toward the development of affordable housing. So what happened to these fees or land, and where has the affordable housing been built? Under this ordinance, how can Irvine possibly lack affordable housing? On the City of Irvine's current website, it is clearly stated that the Irvine Company agreed to convey to the city open space lands in the form of preservation areas in exchange for development rights in other areas of Irvine, which they have received. California SB 1425 mandates that every city and county in California is required to review and update their local open space plans by January 1st, 2026. How can you move forward with this ballot before adhering to the state of California's rules and regulations without investigating why the open space agreement was not completed and justify spending $1.6 to $1.7 million of our money on this proposed ballot measure? I am disgusted by this city council's and Mr. Melching's lack of concern for the Irvine residents and demand that you must rescind the MOU and halt any and all progress on this proposed ballot measure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Nystrom.
Welcome.
Hello, Mayor Agron and City Council members. Thank you once again for all that you've been doing for this measure and for listening to the concerns of the community. And a special thank you to Mr. Melching for all the hard work that has gone into this. I'm here on behalf of friends and other Irvine resident stakeholders in asking to continue with the smart development of the Spectrum Community Plan while preserving true open space. The Oak Creek Golf Course is a fine creation. It's a fine development, and it will serve us, I think, even more fully for all Irvine residents as a new community, while offering us additional true open space. So thank you again for your consideration and for all that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Welcome, sir.
Clark Colby.
Good evening. Got just a few quick comments for you, but good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Clark Colby, and my wife Diana and I are proud business owners here in Irvine. And so first of all, I just want to really thank you for your time, your dedication, and thoughtful deliberation that you bring to decisions that shape our city's future. That's one thing we love about this city. Secondly, I wanted you to know that my family and I really believe in Irvine, so much so that we invested our life savings in our business and our building here in the city. We're proud. We've poured our time, resources, and hearts into creating not just a workplace, but a thriving home for our employees and the clients we serve. Several of our employees call Irvine home, and they tell me all the time how our parks, nature preserves, and open spaces add value to their lives and work, giving them places to recharge, connect, and enjoy a healthy lifestyle, benefits that carry over into the workplace. In fact, one of our team members told me just today that he and his wife are seriously considering moving here, and he called out the parks, amenities, and green spaces as one of the key reasons. Open space and recreation matters to them and to us. So on behalf of our employees and the many fellow business owners, I want to thank you again for all you do for us and for the thoughtful consideration you give us here in Irvine. We truly appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments.
Laura Sinanian.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Agron and Vice Mayor Mai and honorable council members. My name is Lara Sinanian, and I'm president of the American Businesswomen Association and vice president of the Arab American Business Chamber. Irvine is home to many Arab Americans who appreciate the city's rich diversity. We so appreciate how hard you've been working and how much time you have dedicated to this and the thoughtful and deliberative manner in which you've been working. Keep up the great work and know there are a lot of people like us cheering for you behind the scenes. Our members and small businesses here deeply value open space and believe strongly in protecting and expanding open space. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Geraldine Larson.
Welcome.
Good evening, distinguished Mayor Agron, Vice Mayor Jamie Smythe, and council members Truceder, William Go, Melinda Liu, and Betty Martinez-Franco, and Mike Carroll. My name is Geraldine Larson. I'm the president of the Filipino American Chamber of Orange County, and we represent thousands of members who are small business owners, solopreneurs, and healthcare workers. So it's very important in our culture, the Filipino culture, of open space, because this is where we celebrate birthdays, baby showers, and the eating after the church service and the eating after the meeting. So I don't know if you guys eat after your meeting. Sometimes it's really late. So we, Filipinos like to eat. So, and because of all the families and businesses that we represent, the one thing we do here, and as we've heard from other business owners, is They love Irvine. You guys do such a great job with the open space, just how beautiful the city is, how well-planned the city is. However, we do represent, some teachers, healthcare workers, and hospitality. The same people that take care of our families, and probably you guys one day, and are spending an hour one way coming from Inland Empire, Menifee, LA, and as we all probably know, if you haven't seen any of the studies, it's really bad for your health to be sitting in a car for that long. I mean, I don't know how back problems have really skyrocketed since COVID, because we're all sitting there in front of the computer. So we are eventually going to be needing the wonderful healthcare system that Irvine provides. And I just hope that the healthcare workers that are crucial to that is around to help.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Fred Klein.
Welcome, sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank the city attorney for thoroughly confusing us. Protection with exceptions. We don't want exceptions or exchanges. The four proposals that I saw don't adequately protect the golf course property. And bait and switch tactics have been used by this council before with the veteran cemetery. It will not be accepted this time. We need a proposal that addresses Oak Creek golf course property alone, saying it needs to stay open space. California proposals are the worst in this country, saying yes is no and no is yes. We don't want that. We need a proposal that says only that Oak Creek golf course property needs to stay open space with no development. Yes or no? Thank you.
Thank you. And
John L. Britton, and if I could also call forward Derek Shirk, Crit, Brian Farkas, Tiger Hugh, John Evans, Teresa Sang, and Greg Smith.
welcome, sir.
Thank you once again. I've repeated this over and over and over. I still don't understand why we're here. This was voted on in '88. You were integral in this. Why have you guys not filed the easement? And if that's my understanding, it's the only thing that's missing in this whole damn thing. Why are you not forcing the easement and getting this squared away, done, and off the table? I don't understand why we're here. All of this never should have happened. It was permanent, preserved open space, and now we're having to vote on it one more time? It doesn't make any sense. And then the confusing ballot measures that we keep getting from your attorney are a fraud. The first ballot measure where you're saying this really great thing, I want to preserve open space, and then you're giving away Oak Creek in the bottom of it, that is fraud. There is nobody in the residents that live here that will see that on a ballot measure, and they're all going to say, yes, I want to vote for open space. And they don't understand that they're giving away the biggest and only open space that's in the city, the center of the city, Oak Creek, away. As number 2 on the list, the 110 pages that he wrote out that keep saying we're giving Oak Creek away. You can't put that in something that says we're going to preserve open space. So be honest. If we have to vote for open space again, like we did in '88, because you guys haven't codified it and made it actually permanent, then put one ballot measure up saying we want to do open space and the city council can't change it without a vote. That's one measure. And then a second measure up and down on Oak Creek, and then make it clear that Oak Creek is already preserved permanent open space. Don't gloss that over. It's important that the people know what they're voting on. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Hello. We've seen a lot of confusion, and there's a number of confused people here. There's a reason that the former mayor, Shea, attacks me with unfounded claims. There's a reason they can't read and understand even the first paragraph of 88.1. Significant portions of that open space, that means not all. Oak Creek was never protected. There's a reason that facts don't matter to them. There's a reason they call for the removal of our city attorney. There's a reason they turn the meeting into a kabuki theater, because there are two Irvines. Their Irvine is a negative Irvine. Their Irvine is going down the tubes for the last 15 to 20 years. Their Irvine has clouds of doom gathering because of the more people. Their language is of cars, traffic, and anti-growth, no matter how much they wrap themselves in saving Irvine's open spaces. My Irvine is sunny. My Irvine enjoys our actual award-winning open space. My Irvine has a continued commitment to managed and balanced growth. My Irvine is excited to be here and understands growth and change are inevitable. And I moved here because of how Irvine has faced growth to this very day. Ignore the kabuki theater. Keep being sunny Irvine and make decisions based on facts. And try reading the first paragraph of 88.1.
Thank you.
Brian Farkas.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council. My name is Brian Farkas. I'm a member of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, and I represent nearly 5,000 members that live in the local area and recreate in the vicinity of this project. We believe that we'll be impacted by the environmental impacts of this project. The city should require the project to be built with contractors that hire locally, pay prevailing wage, and utilize apprentices from a state-certified apprenticeship training program. Workforce requirements reduce construction-related environmental impacts while benefiting local economy and workforce development. In a recent 2020 report titled Putting California on a High Road, a Jobs Climate Action Plan for 2030, the California Workforce Development Board concluded that investments in growing, diversifying, and upskilling California's workforce can positively affect returns on climate mitigation efforts. The South Coast Air Quality Management District recently found that local hire requirements can result in air pollution reductions. Recently, the state of California reiterated this commitment towards encouraging workforce development and housing affordability through the Affordable Housing and High Roads Act of 2022, otherwise known as Assembly Bill 2011, which requires projects to pay workers prevailing wage and hire from state-certified apprenticeship programs for projects meeting certain siting, affordability, and development standards. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Tiger Hughes.
Thank you for your comments, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, fellow residents and members of the council. My name is Richard Chen, and I've been a resident of Irvine for 9 years. I'm here tonight because this issue directly impacts me and my neighbors. As most Irvine residents can tell, Irvine is a seller's market for housing. The initiative to construct more housing is clearly used to meet those high demands. However, this viewpoint ignores the ongoing construction of other houses and apartments in Great Park near Sand Canyon and at Crestview in Summit near Orchard Hills that already meet those high demands. Irvine has a reputation of having clean air, and a major reason is our profusion of extensive green spaces that provide oxygen to the atmosphere. If the golf course is closed, not only will it wipe out the few remaining local greenery around the area, but the constructions of the homes will add a significant amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. To conclude the speech, I would highly recommend preserving the green area because the previous 4 ballots does not represent the people's needs. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. And
Greg Smith, and if I could also call forward Elaine Izzo, Carla Yates, Barbara Ignash, Craig Kessler, Scott Carpenter, Roger Phillips, Max Egg, and Michael Maxenti.
Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Agrin and members of the council. My name is Greg Smith. I'm a former member of this city council, as well as a 12-year veteran of the city's planning commission. First of all, a couple of thank yous. Number one, thank you for continuing this item. I think it deserves a lot more thought. It obviously is extremely complex, and I think the added time will serve everybody well. I also want to thank you for taking seriously the proposal that I made at the last council meeting of considering a second ballot initiative. I do agree with the other presentations that have been made that there does need to be a standalone ballot initiative, and perhaps the number one that Mr. Melching described can come on a subsequent ballot, because I don't think there's any fear of you approving any development on open space anytime soon. I am concerned, someone mentioned slippery slope on the ballot. I'm concerned about slippery slope in the master plan. That's a document to me much like the Constitution. It shouldn't be ignored. So I'm obviously in favor of retaining the golf course. I do have one request to make, and that is, should you decide to go ahead with ballot measures, let's not refer to that area as the Oak Creek Golf Course. Let's refer to it as the Oak Creek Preservation Area, because that is a much more accurate description of what that area is. The golf course is kind of a permitted use on a preservation area. I think it would be better if we called it by its proper name. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Elaine Rizzo.
Welcome.
Good evening. This comes from my heart. I have lived here since 1989. I purchased a townhome in Northwood. And notice I'm not wearing green, I'm wearing all black because I'm in mourning to see what's happening to our city. The open spaces, wildlife, ecosystem that nobody talks about, increased traffic and crime, but I do give a shout out to Irvine Police Department for doing such a great job. When I moved here to Northwood, there were pepper fields, orange groves, and other open spaces, and that was one of the reasons I moved here, because it was more country-like than most cities. The amount of crime, traffic, and the fact that the basic American family cannot really afford to live here or purchase a home anymore is a tragedy, not to mention that most open spaces have been taken away. What happened to the fact that we were told that there is a water shortage? I always wonder about that. It is funny how these shortages disappear when it comes to the Irvine company building and taking up every open space they can get their hands on. Have any of you thought about the amount of water used for every single apartment building that is constructed? As I was driving out of my community one day, there was a lone white egret. My heart sank as I could tell that this poor creature had been moved out of its habitat. And the other night, there were two coyotes together in the median strip off of Park Place, howling with not knowing where to go looking for food. It is not their fault. We moved them out of there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Carla Yates.
Welcome.
Good evening, council members. My name is Carla Yates. I have been a proud Irvine resident since 1986. I strongly object to Oak Creek Golf Course building 3,100 homes and a school. We are already so overdeveloped in this area. The traffic is so unbearable. We need to honor what was voted on in 1988. Irvine was designed as a planned city with a balance of development and green spaces. That balance has disappeared. This is the one space left in the center of Irvine, and we're taking that away, saying we'll exchange it for something further away, but this is the part of the city that is the most congested right now. I moved here when there was orange groves across the street. I live directly across from Oak Creek Golf Course. I can't even get out of my community sometimes because the traffic is already so heavy. I have to wait 3 lights just so I can legally make a turn onto Irvine Center Drive. And that's before you even want to go build more homes over there. So how can you even consider this when I can't even get out of my own complex right now where I live? There's only one way in and one way out of where I live. I'm directly across from Oak Creek Golf Course, and that is Orange Tree. And I can't even get onto Irvine Center Drive certain times of the day. And you want to build more people that want to get onto Irvine Center Drive to go to work or wherever? We're right between the 405 and the 5. We're in the Y, which was great in the beginning of the development, but you can't keep putting more homes there. You can't.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you for your comments.
Barbara?
Welcome.
The City Council should honor the 1988 ballot measure instead of finding loopholes to make up a new ballot measure that is deceptive and misleading. The 88 land use agreement has already allowed the Irvine Company to intensify development elsewhere in Irvine in exchange for preserving certain parcels. In essence, the City Council is now giving the Irvine Company 2 turns to trade the same land. Sounds like cheating to me. Although the golf course is currently voter-protected open space, the council can remove it from protection as long as we get 315 acres of compensating open space land. I would like someone to define what compensating means. An acre of an orange grove doesn't sound like an acre of a house area. And who invented the 315 acre figure? Where did that come from? The proposed swap is for avocado orchards nowhere near the impacted area. Irvine Company land grants trade unbuildable land for highly desirable buildable land. If the avocado orchards are not unbuildable, why doesn't the Irvine Company build the village there instead? All the open space in Irvine is on the very fringes of the city. So while you crowd 3,100 homes on about 200 acres in the middle of Irvine, we get open space more than 5 miles away from our new traffic nightmare. Rancho San Joaquin Golf Course is currently protected by a legally binding resolution passed by the Irvine City Council, not voted on by residents, in September 2018, which reaffirms the general plan and zoning code designation, effectively shielding the property from redevelopment. The council explicitly stated it has no intention to change the usage of the golf course land, that the resolution reflects the council's commitment to preserving open space and honoring neighborhood character. And the resolution remains in effect unless rescinded by a future council vote, which is rare in Irvine's legislative history until now.
Thank you for your comments.
Craig Kessler?
Welcome.
Well, good evening. Mayor Agron, members of the council, my name is Craig Kessler. I serve as Executive Director of the California Alliance for Golf. I came here tonight not to issue a position, but really we had some concerns and some very specific questions about some of the ballot language. Given the fact that this is going to be continued until 2026, I'm going to trust that we have ample time to express those concerns and maybe pose some of those questions to the city attorney. But I'd be remiss in being here this long tonight if I didn't share with this council an outside perspective on what Oak Creek means, not just statewide, but nationally to the golf community and the golf industry. There are about 1,000 golf courses in the state of California. Approximately 700 of them are open to the public, as is Oak Creek. Bar none, Oak Creek has the finest practice facility, publicly available practice facility in the state. A lot of junior programs, a lot of school programs, A lot of developmental programs are dependent upon it. I wouldn't say that of those 700 open to the public golf courses, Oak Creek is the top as it is in the practice facility, but it's among the top. That is the subject of the development. So while that is not necessarily a position, I would be remiss if I didn't share that fact with you so you understand, in essence, one of the reasons why there's so much passion. I don't think it's just the parkland and the open space, but the fact is you have a golf facility which is known internationally and of which you should be very proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Matt?
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for remembering the promises, Mayor. My Irvine is sunny and bright and will be even more brighter after we save Oak Creek. We all go to these meetings and spend countless hours. We've heard about 315 acres many times today. How about keep Oak Creek and build on 315 acres? And let's leave Oak Creek alone. And by the way, those 315 acres on the hills. And we can also plant a few avocados on the golf course. Sounds like a maybe good idea. What happened to the easement? And why don't we have to protect what is already protected? Who can direct staff to get easement from Irvine Company? And who on this dais can make a motion to stop MOU right now? We all want to go home. Mike, we want to go home. Just raise your hand and make a motion to stop it now. We don't have to go back in January or February 2026. You can stop it now, today. And all go home, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. You don't have to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the last 5 individuals who are here in person do have AV materials, so if I could, again, with your indulgence, go over to the Zoom speakers and then come back to those individuals.
All right.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Don Geller. Mr. Geller, you may unmute your mic.
Thank you, Carl. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Although I am on the Finance Commission, I'm just speaking for myself as a longtime resident. Although I am happy that we will save $2 million on a special election, I am still concerned about all the staff time and money that will be spent pursuing the MOU to develop. Perhaps with the ballot measure being delayed, we can put the development planning phase on the back burner so we don't waste the city's valuable resources. I also think that the recommended 4 measures can easily be reduced to 1 or 2, but I'm happy that there'll be time to fine-tune all of this. We cannot blame Mr. Melching for what he proposed based upon the timetable that he was given. I wholeheartedly agree with Greg Smith that the Oak Creek Golf Course should always be referred to as the Oak Creek Preservation Area, because it was not a golf course when we voted that area as open space back in 1988. I would like to remind the council that there are many residents like me who do not believe a golf course should be considered open space when one has to pay upwards of $200 for a few hours to enjoy this area. As I have testified a number of times before, I would love to see this area transformed to a beautiful community park, full of outdoor amenities, and perhaps even a new central library open to all without charge. If you are going to ask the voters to decide on the future of this area, please consider adding a choice on a future ballot to ask the voters in Irvine if they would prefer the golf course or a community park, if indeed the medium density housing will not be considered or if it's voted against. I know that the continuance affords staff and council much time to consider, reconsider, and negotiate, and I'm glad there won't be a rush to make any reckless decisions. Thank you, and good evening.
Our next speaker is telephone number 462. 462, you may unmute your mic.
Good evening, Mayor Agron and council members. Thanks for taking the time to listen to all of us tonight. My name is John Peterson. I've been a Woodbridge resident for over 45 years. The whole issue here started with the Oak Creek Golf Course. Please make sure that a ballot measure sticks to Oak Creek specifically. Any other land the city is thinking about protecting, like those mentioned in the first ballot measure option, should be done on a separate measure. Also, I'm not an expert, but to me, options 1, 2, and 3, option 1, for sure, as Mr. Melching specifically said in his presentation, but I believe options 2 and 3 as well, ask the voters to give up their power and rights regarding Oak Creek to the City Council, and for the City Council to be able to decide regarding Oak Creek. Even Councilmember Carroll has stated that he doesn't trust any future or even current City Council with that power. It seems that the consensus of the council as a whole is that the people should directly decide themselves whether or not Oak Creek should remain protected. The first 3 ballot measures appear to go directly against that idea. Please make sure that any ballot measure that's approved has the voters directly deciding themselves. So I would ask and finish just by asking Mr. Melching to clarify or answer a simple question of, do any of the proposed ballot measures have the residents directly deciding if Oak Creek stays protected? Thank you.
Our next speaker is telephone number 347. 347, you may unmute your mic.
Yes, this is Dee Fox. First things first, is the Irvine company going to fulfill its obligation in the 1988 initiative? That needs to be completed first. And who wanted this placed on the ballot in the first place? Just say no to the Irvine company. It seems quite clear that the public wants to keep the golf course, so everything else is mute. It appears that this council is just trying to confuse an issue, and the city attorney is pushing, only making it worse. What Christina Shea said, times 100. Save all your information that clearly is not something we can trust. The people have spoken, and it's your duty to listen to us and respect our wishes. Don't wait until 2026. Just decline the Irvine company's proposal, and while you are at it, tell them not to threaten us. To do anything else seems we lose a golf course. And Mike, I agree. We shall go home. Thanks. Bye.
Our next speaker is Scott Carpenter. Scott, you may unmute your mic.
Good evening, council members. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. I think one of the key issues at stake here is honesty and integrity, and that's the honesty and integrity of everybody sitting up there right now. The ballot measures proposed are basically convoluted, confusing, and they're taking away the citizens' ability to vote on something that should be very plain and straightforward. Both the City Council and the Irvine Company have acted recklessly in this entire process, creating a lot of civil discord amongst residents, and the voters just don't trust what may or may not become out of this. 88-1 was voted on for a reason. It was reaffirmed for a very good reason. The tactics that are being used for the ballot measures proposed are very deceptive and misleading. I'll go back to what Councilmember Tresetter said. These should be easy enough for somebody that's 16, 17, 18 years old to read and understand. Vice Mayor Mai, you said this should be a very simple yes or no measure. I'm glad that we're tabling this until 2026. I do think it gives us ample time to do one thing. For example, if you look at option number 4, which requires CEQA, I don't think there's a reason that the Irvine Company should be allowed to go forward with your guidance under CEQA, because that may be something that has to be done. That may be a viable path forward at this particular point in time. I do think that the easement is something that needs to be granted by the Irvine Company. They do need to fulfill that obligation. So we are starting from we're starting this process from where we should be with the easement in place. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Our next speaker is James Huang. James, you may unmute your mic.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm James from Woodbridge. I was able to buy a home in Irvine because it was built. The same goes for everyone here tonight that opposes Oak Park. That's obvious. No one can buy a house that doesn't exist. If more housing doesn't get built, then there will simply be more competition for the houses that exist, driving prices up further. We have a prime location to build lots of housing, so we should take it. It's right next to the Jeffrey Trail and will provide funding for Irvine Connect. This is the perfect place to put housing if you want to reduce driving as compared to putting housing on a highway at the edge of the city where people will have to drive for all of their trips as opposed to having access to non-car modes. Oak Creek is an expensive, exclusive golf course. It's not community open space in any common understanding of the term. At $200 per play, few residents are going there regularly. It's certainly not a space for a birthday party or kids to run around. The actual public parks of this development are more real open space than this golf course. Please support ballot measure options 1 or 3. Both of these allow Irvine to have no net loss of open space without using open space as a cudgel to block housing. We must build more housing. Saying yes, but not here, vaguely somewhere else, is the same thing as no, because somewhere else is always here for someone. We must say yes, yes here. Thank you.
If I could call forward Laura Cormack.
I've stood here and I'm supposed to talk about the easement. Good evening. I've been touched by a previous speaker that talked about the hospital workers and other people that would live in Los Angeles, far places away, and they have to take the freeway to drive here, and it's far, and they have to smell the smog and the tailpipes to get to work. In Irvine, I live in a V with 405, 5 freeway, Barranca, Alton, Irvine Center Drive. It's parking lot. It's parking lot for every street. I am sitting here in a smog-filled bucket every day. I live right across the street from the golf course, as you know, and I have breathing problems, and I'm having trouble as it is because all of the traffic is just all smushed in, and we have this constant smog. If we get rid of the green space, and they wanted to get rid of the green grass along Irvine Center Drive because they wanted to put rocks there and make a bike path, which would have raised the temperature another 5 degrees. Luckily, we were able to beat that down. And it was because it's green, it's grass, it's natural. And if we, lose the golf course, which has 2 lakes, they use every day they're using the golf, the driving range. And I don't want to I live here, and I got to smell the pollution every day. And we add 6,000 more cars, it's going to be a circus, and no one's going to be able to get out. If there was an emergency, you guys be in big trouble. Thank you.
Teresa? Teresa?
Donald Bren doesn't live here.
Is this our last speaker?
This is not. We do have the remaining 4 individuals that have a visual.
That have visual.
And then that's it.
All right.
Okay. This is the mismo. Buenas noches. Me dirijo a la miembro concejal, la señorita Franco Martínez. Usted lucha para proteger a las familias latinas de ICE porque tienen miedo. El resto de nosotros también tenemos miedo. Tenemos miedo de perder nuestro open space. La lucha por OACLED no es la misma que la lucha contra ICE.
Let me just interrupt for a moment. Let me just interrupt. My Spanish isn't very good, but is this on item 3.1?
Yes, it is.
Just for a moment. It is?
Yeah.
Very well.
Okay.
Go ahead.
La lucha por OACLED no es la misma que la lucha contra ICE. Una trata de vivir con su familia en Estados Unidos, la otra de salvar la tierra, pero el sentimiento es el mismo. Algo vital para nuestras vidas puede ser quitado por quienes tienen más poder. Residentes de World Rights y de Ranch le han pedido su ayuda para detener este desarrollo. Pedimos una reunión, pero su jefe de gabinete no dio seguimiento. Si usted puede enfrentarse a ICE para proteger a la gente, también puede enfrentarse a los poderosos para proteger OACLED. Y eso empieza con esto. No vote por ninguna medida en la boleta hasta que sepa dónde está la servidumbre de OACLED. Todavía queremos una reunión, sea líder para todas las personas. Muchas gracias. A pleasure.
Let me just say, as I recall, under our rules, a translation is permitted without qualification as to time. In other words,
there's equal time for the translation.
very well. Is there somebody who'd like to translate for those of us who have forgotten the Spanish we were taught in school? Would you like to translate, Councilmember Martinez?
Yeah, let me know if I missed anything. But she was saying that how much I protect people against ICE, I should protect Oak Creek as well. It's kind of like a summary of everything that she was saying to protect that, and some of the residents were not taken in consideration. Los residentes dijo que no se habían tomado en consideración, ¿verdad? Yeah, so some residents, they were not taken in consideration for all the measures, and so
Well,
yeah.
Thank you for your assistance on that. Very
Heidi
well.
Francois. Heidi.
These speakers are coming at the end because they have a visual presentation.
I think the request is if they can come up at once, but I'll defer to you, Mayor.
However they want to organize themselves is fine with me. But these are the final four, is that correct? All right.
So
2
I have
minutes
Heidi,
each, or-
Joanne, Sandra, and Susie. This is in my list. And we'll start with Heidi.
Are you each taking 2 minutes, or?
Yes.
All right, very well.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, council members, Mayor Agron. This entire crisis traces back to one man, your city attorney, Jeff Melching. The original Oak Creek MOU was approved as to form in 1988 by then city attorney Roger Grable of Rutan and Tucker. Today, Melching from the same law firm is taking the opposite position, undermining his own firm's prior work for the city in the same matter to benefit the Irvine company. Under California's rule of professional conduct 1.7 and 1.9, that's not just a conflict, it's unethical. He's telling you Oak Creek protections can be bypassed and that you can approve land use challenging ballots before CEQA review, advice that contradicts legal precedent from Friends of Sierra Madre and Save Terra. That puts the city and each of you personally at massive legal risk. And while he finds loopholes for developers, he refuses to demand the easement owed to the public, worth hundreds of millions. Anaheim Stadium deal was worth less, and people went to prison. You're being coached into illegal, you could possibly being coached into illegal actions. Don't make the mistake of thinking I didn't know is a protected defense. With multiple complaints already filed, every move you make will be scrutinized. And the weapon he's using to pull this off is right in front of you, the deal of the ballot scheme. Thank you.
Joanne.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for letting us speak tonight and for always being so supportive tonight. Appreciate it. Have you all read the 110-page ballot packet? Can you answer these questions? Where is the easement? Does CEQA apply before approving these ballots? How does ballot 2 get undone by ballot 3? Why is Oak Creek left out of ballot 1? Why the rush? If you can't answer these, take ballot 101 with Mike LeBlanc. Stop vote tonight and put 5 on your agenda. You've already done some of that, so I appreciate that. Question 1 answer. In 88-1, Oak Creek was designated preservation, but TIC was never delivered the $400 million easement. With it, Oak Creek would be protected and there'd be no ballot today. Question 2 answer. Yes, CEQA requires a project-level EIR before the council votes to put it on the ballot. You can't even approve it. It should be led by the city, not the developer, using certified experts. Your CEQA exemption does not apply here. CEQA must be completed before approving any ballot. 3, ballot 2's protections vanish if ballot 3 passes under the conflicting measure clause. 4, ballot 1 primarily protects land that's already protected and leaves Oak Creek open for rezoning. Again, why the rush? TIC knows CEQA will probably fail, killing the project. They need to avoid CEQA at all costs. CEQA takes 12 to 36 months, so January, it doesn't even matter. They want the vote to happen before it's done, so to avoid CEQA, and voters decide without the review. A vote for open space stops development. A vote for development, even if CEQA fails later, lets the developer push ahead, citing the people's will, forcing costly court fights later. Do you guys know that? Just learn that. Anyway, make a mistake and the cost is permanent loss of open space. That's one deal Irvine should never make. And that's not just a mistake, it's your personal legal risk.
Your time is up. Sandra Rush.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello. Well, you took half my speech away when you deferred this or kicked it down the road about the ballot issue, which, thank you. I appreciate that, and I still think that this whole ballot thing is kind of a dumb idea since we already approved it, we already approved it, and we already approved it. But what we haven't approved or haven't seen is this easement. And I guess the question is, where is the easement? Why hasn't it been executed? Why hasn't this attorney executed it or had obtained it so that we can execute it, so that a lot of this can go away? I think you've seen enough people enough times to know that everybody opposes this whole development scheme. It's not a function of housing, it's a function of this will create such a traffic jam in the middle of central Irvine. It's not a good idea. I don't care if it's a golf course. The only people who are making money off the golf course is the Irvine company, which is what they do. So I don't understand why they would not get an environmental impact report immediately, because, and if anything it said was anything other than immense amount of congestion, immense amount of traffic, you know, then it's not a valid one, because everybody can contest to the fact, or can attest to the fact, the traffic there is horrible. And Irvine is building new apartments. They're building all the way up Jamboree, Marketplace, the Spectrum. There's plenty of new housing being developed. As a matter of fact, I saw a study today that said most cities have toned down their new development, and but only Irvine is building like 5,000 new. The only thing that's not being addressed is, what about the infrastructure, the streets, the water that we have a drought, the electricity that we have brownouts? Why is that not being addressed while we're doing all this expansive? So again, why is the Irvine company—
Thank you. Your time is up.
Yeah, I know. Why is the Irvine company, why are you subjugated to the demands of the Irvine company? Represent the voters. Do not pursue this ill-advised action before it's too late. Withdraw the MOU. Listen to your constituents. Shame on you.
Thank you.
Susie?
Okay. Hi, I'm Susie Winokur, and this is Let's Make a Deal. Oh, no, let's make a mistake. Okay. Anyhow, and I'm no Monty Hall. I'm Susie Winokur, been a resident for 37 years in Irvine. After everything you've just heard, the missing easement worth hundreds of millions of dollars, the city attorney's conflict of interest, the CEQA trap in your ballots, it's clear we've been playing a game tonight. Again, it's called Let's Make a Mistake, where you get to choose door number 1. Follow the law, recover the easement, protect the public. Door number 2, approve illegal ballots, ignore CEQA and the easement, and hope no one notices. Or door number 3, pretend you don't understand the 110-page packet and let the mayor or Mr. Melching decide for you. Normally in this game, contestants have an excuse. They can't see what's behind each door, but you can. You've been given the facts, the law, the timelines, and the consequences. If you choose door number 2 or 3, it's not a mistake, it's deliberate. Anaheim Stadium scandal was worth less than Oak Creek, and people went to prison. This isn't theater. It's the end of careers if you keep playing this kind of game. The public is watching, the press is watching, and when the headlines come, the prize under door number 2 and 3 won't be applause. It'll be your name in the same kind of story that ended Anaheim's mayor. So, council member, what's it going to be tonight? Tonight, make the right deal. Grab the easement, maintain 88-1, and don't adopt a ballot. Thank you.
And that is all, Mayor.
We have concluded our public comments. We thank all the commenters for taking the time and giving thought to this matter and being willing to express your views publicly. That's obviously an important part of this process. At this time, I want to give my council colleagues an opportunity to offer any comments they might have. I will be making a motion to continue this matter. Is it more appropriate to continue it or to table it to, let's say, the first meeting in January?
A motion to continue would be better.
More appropriate.
Yes.
Therefore, and that preserves the record of everything we have seen and discussed tonight. Very well. I'll tell you what, why don't I make that motion now, but I'll entertain council comments, beginning with Councilmember Treseder, but why don't I just put all the comments in the context of a motion, which is I'll move that this matter be continued to the first meeting in January of 2026. Is there a second? Okay.
I'll second.
Councilmember Treseder seconds it. All right. Councilmember Treseder, you've also requested to be heard for as much time as you would like. And we'll, of course, at the end of all the comments, be voting on the motion. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for coming again and speaking. I really appreciate all of your comments. I support delaying this until a meeting in January. I think that it makes more sense to have this a ballot initiative aligning with the June primary. I did follow up on what I said I would do from the last meeting. I asked my 17-year-old kids if they'd be willing to look at the ballot language, and one of them agreed. And so I asked, if you read this question on an election ballot, do you feel you understand what it's asking? The question being, shall the measure that allows for a change in the permissible uses of the Oak Creek Golf Course only if the city is entitled to compensating open space be adopted? and my kids said, heck nah, which I think means no. So I'm very sorry, Mr. Melching. I understand there may be constraints legally for what you can write, but it did not pass my test. I also have to say I would really have to wrap my hand around this question quite a bit if I were to be a member of the public. So I would not right now support the language that's in option 1 or 3. And option 2 is fine with me. That's about the open space. Option 4 seems clear enough, and I have no objection to option 5 as it was proposed. I'm hoping that between now and January, that if it's possible to clarify that language, that it can be clarified, and if not, I will likely vote no. But just wanted to give my feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Treseder. I see no other requests. There is a motion to continue before us. I think now is the time for the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Carroll.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you wish to be heard? Councilmember Carroll?
Yeah, I would just, I guess, Mayor, if you want, I think the first meeting in January, maybe we can make a motion to continue it into 2026, allow the process to continue, and then, it could be brought forward and at some point later in 2026. I don't really know I don't have the detail on the timing for the city attorney. Maybe you can.
Well, we don't have to continue it to a time certain, do we?
You don't.
Yeah.
You could just have it come back in early 2026. Councilmember Carroll, to answer your question, we need 88 days before an election date. So March or so if you want to hit the June election.
Yeah, I didn't want to foreclose the options of nothing, the options of June, right, which is the gubernatorial primary, the options of, just any of the options. But if we can, Mayor, if you're amenable, we could just let's continue it for now and just kind of,
all right,
period. I would second.
As long as it's understood, it's continued to early 2026.
That's where I was headed.
All right, that's fine.
Mayor.
So can I ask what's the motion? Is it amended to any time in 2026?
Well, it could be. And of course, anybody could put the matter back on the agenda at any time.
Okay.
I just wanted people to understand, not only are we not voting on specific ballot measures tonight, we're not going to be doing so in the near-term future. And I think sometime after the first of the year is fine. It'll be brought back up at an appropriate time. Okay. If it were to go on the June ballot, I think we've got to do all our work by early March, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. That's not very far from January, so you understand the intent here.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we're talking about the same thing when we vote on it.
All right. There's a motion before us. No further requests to be heard. Will the clerk please call the
Mr.
roll?
Mayor, before I do call for the vote, if I may just confirm that Councilmember Treseder is amenable to your amendment.
Yes.
Very
Thank you. Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treseder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, the matter's continued. This is the final matter on the agenda tonight. Thank you all. Is there a motion to adjourn? And we will be adjourning in memory of Virginia Nichols.
So moved.
Is there a motion?
I moved.
Councilmember Liu moves to adjourn.
Second, Mayor.
Councilmember Carroll seconds the motion to adjourn. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Carroll.
Yes.
Councilmember Go.
Yes.
Councilmember Liu.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Treseder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mai.
Yes.
Mayor Agron.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Thank you all. Meeting's adjourned.